where liberty and reason still reign.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank account, your home, shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
Hey, this is Bump Stock Ken, sitting here with my wife, Bump Stock Barbie, and normally you would be hearing us in a couple of hours for Talk Murder to Me podcast. But with the situation going on in Pennsylvania today, the apparent attempted assassination of President Trump, it's all over the news right now. So if you haven't heard, flick a TV on or something, or you can listen to us, because we're going to talk about it and give the coverage of the news. Yeah, it's right now on the screen. Yep, there's a live from CNN right there. Loud bangs heard at rally. Trump whisked away with blood on his face is the CNN.
And of course, CNN is going to say it's just loud bangs and he's got blood on his face. Because whenever, like, if it was Biden, they'd be like shots fired at, Biden rally. Like, they would be all over this.
Well, they're even Fox, all of them's being very careful to say apparent assassination attempt, because it's early, it's new. It's brand new, so but I don't really know what else you could call it. Now, I know we do have some guests with us on this special night. Of course, we always have Rick. Rick's with us. If you want to say hello.
I don't count. I'm the producer.
Oh, you count. You make it happen. And and I know. Hold on, I don't have my chat screen pulled up real quick.
We have Jen with us right now, and Vincent is with us as well.
Jen and Vincent, awesome. So yeah, I mean, I think
we
right
had
now,
Vincent. I don't know where Vincent went. We had Vincent.
No, I'm
He'll be
here.
back.
I'm here.
Oh wait, it doesn't show you anymore. That's weird.
I think the best thing to do would just be to just kind of go as the news breaks, just kind of keep it. Oh, here we go. I got everybody now. I got the chat up. Yeah, really, it's just play it by ear, no pun intended, and see y'all what's happening. You know, because y'all are watching it along with us. But I mean, we didn't feel right about running our regular show tonight.
We were going to discuss the Daniel LaPlante case.
Well, any case at this point, it just wouldn't be the right thing. I don't believe.
This falls right into true crime. I mean, this is apparently a shooting. So, and it's happening, or it was happening just recently. So,
if you take the politics out of it, even if it was Biden saying this was to happen,
we
would still break
deal.
in and do this. I mean, this is a historic moment. Look here to the left there. This is a historic moment, and it deserves to be covered and talked about because one attendee, it says here, the shooter is dead, and the Trump rally attendee was also killed. That's breaking news from Fox News right now. So.
See, and that's one thing that I've wondered about because you see the crowd react, and I'm like, did that shooter hit anybody else? Because there are people like in front of him, behind him, off to the sides.
Yeah, I mean, the way from where Trump was standing and from where it looks like the bullets come from, he was firing at Trump and into the crowd.
Yeah.
And there was at least 3 shots fired. But yeah, it says here Fox News is releasing now that the shooter is confirmed dead and at least one Trump rally attendee was killed in the firing as well. So that's tragic already, not so much for the shooter, but obviously for the attendee. Any loss of life like that is just, I hope they come out and with the name soon, probably tomorrow sometime, and
hopefully by tonight at the earliest.
Yeah,
I mean, they should be able to at least release that information. But let's say this is an assassination attempt.
I can just call it what it is.
As of right now, that's what it looks like. So we have to assume that this is a leftist driven by the Democrats' rhetoric, obviously. I mean, they already did this. I was talking to Mama not long ago, told her, we had AOC talking about that, ICE facilities and everything were concentration camps. And so that dude tried to firebomb an ICE facility and he got killed. So that's one example, recently, of Democrat rhetoric. Then you got James Hodgkinson, who tried to shoot up a baseball field full of Republicans because the Democrats kept saying that Republicans, were trying to take away Medicare and we're going to kill grandma.
Well, it was just last week I saw a big thing. I was on X and other places where people were actively calling for Trump to be assassinated. They done this while he was still president. Who's that? Kathy Griffin? Remember the holding the head?
Yeah, the bloody head thing.
I mean, this is nothing new.
And they always talk about Republican rhetoric is going to get people hurt or killed. Look at what they're doing.
Yeah.
There's no way around this anymore. I don't know how they can. I don't know how that they distance themselves from this.
You can gauge the general tone of what's actually happened if you actually go and look at your Twitter feed right now.
Oh yeah,
you have conservatives and most centrists saying, this is a terrible thing. Violence should never be an option in politics, and I see a lot of that on my feed, and I'm glad for it because it shows the majority of people have got their heads on right. And then you get the
this shows the dichotomy between the right and the left everything.
Too. And there are people on there going, damn, he missed.
Yeah. Like I said, this shows the dichotomy between the right and the left too.
Exactly. I mean, what do you say about that? I just posted a tweet not too long ago. You can tell the people who've never who've never dealt with violence or have never been intimately connected with violence by how loudly they scream for it.
Right.
All of these people saying, "Oh, he missed. Oh, they should have got him." Yeah. Okay. Right. Got it. Noted.
Everything that the media and specifically the Democrats, warn us about day after day about this, the danger that our country is in from these right-wing extremists and how violent they are and how terrible everybody.
Sorry, that didn't work the way I was hoping it would, but it's actually I found a tweet, and it's in a hashtag that's trending right now. One job.
Yeah,
and
the shooter had one job.
The shooter had one job.
It's unreal. Like, and they say we're the violent ones. Like, we're the ones wanting to.
What I was
to
leading
harm
to is
people,
that
like
it's like
women and minorities. Like, we're wanting to hurt them and kill them. No, we're not.
Well, that's what I was leading to is that this is the constant narrative that they continue to push and have pushed for the better part of 20 years. And almost every time there is political violence, it is from the left. Every time.
And
these, you see the little
and whenever they report on it, it's like, we shouldn't jump to conclusions. We should be sure of all the facts. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't want to talk about the facts because it paints them in a bad light. That's what we actually, as soon as we saw it happen, the first thing, first thing you said was they're going to twist it to make it look like he did this on purpose, that he done it himself.
Yeah, I think that's the way the left's going to spin this.
Yeah,
Is they're going to say
they're already starting. There's so many false flag tweets going out right now. It's not funny.
Yeah, that's exactly my first thought. I was like, they're going to false flag this. They're going to say that Trump staged this entire thing.
They're now confirming that there are 2 more dead. So I don't think they're going to be able to pull that off.
Shooter and 2 others dead. Yeah, I see that.
So we've got 3 dead then, the shooter and 2 attendees.
And possibly a second shooter that's in
That's
custody.
I had somebody just contact me a little while ago. They're like, "Oh my God, Trump got shot in Pennsylvania." And it's like, yeah. It's like, you okay? I'm like, I'm in Philly, not Pittsburgh, but thank you for asking.
Do you think everybody's there?
Yeah, it's like people from New York. New York has 40 million people. Only 9 million of them live in the city.
Right.
So when you say you're from New York, people are like, "Oh, what's the city like?" "Oh, I don't know. I'm from Utica."
Even everybody knowing absolutely how massive Texas is, something will happen in Texas, and I'll get people that have never been here and from other places. They're like, "Hey, doll, you okay?" And I'm like, "I really appreciate it, but Texas that was 9.5 hours away from me." But it's good to know people give a shit. But this is just. I think that immediately that false flag thing was what they were going to try to go for. I'm not talking about necessarily anybody that's of any consequence, but the internet trolls, that was going to be the thing. And it was.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right away, but they're not going to be able to make that hold any water. If only he had been grazed and nothing else had happened to anyone else and they hadn't apprehended the shooter, I think that they could have gotten away with pushing that narrative, but not this time. And I also want to say, I don't care where he is. They need to wake him up. Biden should absolutely make a statement tonight.
Yeah, he needs to come out and condemn this, like in the strongest terms possible. Like, I mean, if he wants to be taken seriously, that's his only option. Like, they got to get his script writers or whoever's in charge perking that man up.
Hey, look,
he's got to come out and condemn this.
It's almost 8 o'clock on the East Coast. I don't know that he's awake.
That's what we're saying. Yeah. You got to wake him up, pump whatever you got to pump into him, like get him out in front of a camera and condemn this.
At least
it is absolutely unacceptable for him to not make a strong stand right now. And I mean, either way, this election's over, I think. But I think
that's exactly what I said.
You do not make an enemy you do not make a martyr out of your enemy. That is like,
that one photo of Trump with the one photo of Trump with the blood on his face, his fist in the air, and the American flag behind him. That is, I swear to God, that needs to be the only image that he shows from here to November, because that photo
is going to win him the election.
It is.
Yes, I mean, that's
that photo is also going to win that photographer a Pulitzer Prize.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if they're not biased on that too, but like, it's just absolutely amazing. I do want to acknowledge we do have people in the chat on X, and I've got on my phone the people on Facebook listening too, because this is a huge deal. So, Like, I've even got my family and everything from right here in Alabama listening, close friends. We've got people on Twitter tuning in. I don't know the exact numbers or anything, but yeah, this is a big deal. Like, everybody's wanting to hear about this.
And I think not just want to hear about it, but I think they want to hear about it from people that they know too and have conversations with. And then they're not all able to get on the phone. Then this is what I do when ever I'm not a part of one of these. Like, I want to get on and hear my KLRN people talk about stuff. I don't necessarily always just want to hear the big name pundits. Like, I want to hear the people
Right.
that talk like me, think like me, are in real jobs like me, in the real world like me, and how they're discussing it. I think that's important.
I say the real people. And I mean, like I said, I was on the phone with my mama. She's the one. I was doing show notes for the other episode we originally had planned for tonight when my mama called and we started talking about it. She's over in the chat on Facebook right now. And I had Joaquin here on X had messaged me before she called saying, Trump was just shot at, or, he got shot or something like that. And I just, because I'd been so busy with other stuff today, like I hadn't had the news on, so I didn't know.
Yeah, I was in a weird position that I was watching a movie with my kiddo in the bedroom, and my husband was in the living room, and he had actually just turned it to CNN and stopped because they just introduced Trump to come up on stage. So he's like, "Oh, I'll just watch the very beginning of this rally that they're televising," and then saw it happen live and starts yelling from the living room, "Trump just got shot. They just tried to kill Trump." And I'm like, "Wait, what?"
I was going to say that. I mean, that's such a like just a shock to the system. Like, okay, we've all kind of said, okay, we can see the left doing this, but I don't think any of us really ever expected it to actually happen. And then it did today. So we're like, okay, like y'all are actually serious and you actually are bat crap crazy. So,
but even still, like, they have been, and I feel like people have expected this for a long time. People expected them to try with W too, because of all the hysteria surrounding him and controversy. But and that's just typically how it goes with Republican presidents, unfortunately. And they actually did shoot Reagan, though that was just a crazy person who had his fantasies about Jodie Foster. But still, you only have 10 instances in American history where this has happened, and several of them have been successful. More of them have not been successful, thankfully. But this is only the 10th time a president has been shot. So it's absolutely insane.
Something. I mean,
yes.
And you had to know, okay, there was another thing that I mentioned, because the security at these events is so overwhelming, especially after JFK, like so much so that even after, like outside of where the rally is actually being held, they'll seal off like miles around this event and everything. So how did somebody get through this security? Like, what actually happened? Like, that's my big question.
They said the shooter was on a roof of a building.
Yeah, but see, usually, like I said, in order, even if it was a sniper, you've only got like a certain distance where the shot can be somewhat accurate. And apparently it was very close because it got him in the ear. You even mentioned that like an inch or so to the left, and this man would be dead right now.
Yeah, it would have shot him in the face.
So, I mean, we've got this shooter that is close enough to make a somewhat accurate shot. And I want to know how that was possible because of all the security measures that the Secret Service and everything goes through for events like this. And again, after JFK, they will shut down like every building within a certain radius of this event. So how did this shooter get through?
It's part of why they're being able to interview so many people right now, is because they're all milling about because they're not allowed to leave this certain area. Real quick, I do want to say that so Barack Obama just tweeted, and so he has made a statement before Biden. He just tweeted, "There's absolutely no place for political violence in our democracy. Although we don't know yet exactly what happened, we should all be relieved that President Trump wasn't seriously hurt and use this moment to recommit ourselves to civility and respect in our politics. Michelle and I are wishing him a quick recovery."
How about the comments on that or something else?
Out of the gate. I mean, Gavin Newsom beat Biden out of the gate. He tweeted like 20 minutes ago.
Anybody that's serious about politics should, whether it's just for covering their own ass and wanting to be, seem better than the next and be the bigger man. I don't care what it is. It's the right thing to do right now. 100%.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just amazing that a former president has come out before our current president has.
Yeah.
Like, he should have been the first one on TV saying,
Sure.
this is not acceptable.
Well, I
Like,
mean,
I'm
to be
condemning
fair,
this in the strongest words
to-
possible.
To be fair, Obama is pretty much the current president. He's just
Yeah,
not
I was gonna say.
I was about to say.
I'm gonna say not only that, but he seems to be part of the whisper campaign behind wanting Joe to step down. So like he wouldn't mind undermining him a little bit to help facilitate that happen, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, this is just, I think the entire situation is insane right now. And obviously, like, we're not going to really have any answers until maybe starting tomorrow, if the media doesn't try to hide it from us. Because I always say you don't hate the media enough. And I think with this, we're really going to find out why.
Yeah, I think for the media at this point today, right now, this is their come to Jesus moment. They can either
Maybe so, like,
they can either pull their head out and start reporting accurately and saying, okay, this happened, this happened, this happened, and regardless of what everyone on the left is going to say, just report it accurately, report it fairly. After that, yeah, go back to doing what you're doing. But if you're going in this with a biased outlook, like, ooh, he fell from the stage, that CNN.
Yeah, which was what CNN's original headline was, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
exactly.
Yeah.
He fell from the stage. If you carry on with that nonsense for the rest of this evening and into tomorrow, yeah, things.
I
things are gonna get
screenshotted
tough.
that. Yeah, I screenshotted that because I saw and it was like it still said fell, and I'm like, what the hell? So I screenshotted that, and then sure enough, I refreshed it like 2 minutes later, and they'd updated it to something that wasn't all that much. But at least it said injured in incident instead of like making it like old man fell down, which I know they would love for that to be the case, so they can say he's no better than Biden, and you're like, okay, thanks for that. But they updated that, and then apparently though there was also on there one of their things was top stories, and it said video Trump speech interrupted by Secret Service. Excuse me?
Oh my God. Well, yeah, I mean, the dude got shot at. So,
yeah, because they shot at him and he got
I say they rushed the stage because there were gunshots. Like, that's literally their job. So yeah, it was interrupted by them.
Exactly. I mean, it's unreal. And by the way, I do want to say that as always, like so grateful and in awe of the people that choose jobs like that and throw themselves literally in the line of fire. They had no idea what was going on. They threw their bodies in front and on top of his, so that if there were any more shooters or anything, that he would not be hit. And it takes a special kind of person to do that, and very grateful for their service.
Yeah, utmost respect to them, because I don't think that's something I could ever do. Like, I could do it for like Daniel or the Tiny Tyrant or something. Don't know that I could do that necessarily for anybody else. So yeah, utmost respect to the people who actually want to do this job.
I mean, and despite all the craziness and the hate and who knows what else they get. But they proved today they're there when needed, and absolutely did everything in their power to protect Trump, and even fighting him as he's trying to show the crowd he's okay and give his fist pumps and saying we will fight. They're trying to. There's like no.
That's what my mom was actually laughing about. Like, she was talking about they're shoving him into this car, like, because he doesn't want to go in. So.
Protect his dang head. Like, it just got shot at, and here he is trying to put it up above them to try to show the crowd he's okay, which will be, I mean, that's going to go down as something so iconic.
I say all of these images from this is all he needs to run from here to November for his campaign ads. This is it.
Yeah, don't worry about anything else, honestly. Just don't listen to the fodder. Don't worry about what Joe says. Just run this. And I mean, I've already had so many people in chats that are, conservative and Republican, but have been sick of him and sick of the antics, and were like, he should have just stayed out and let us start over, all that kind of thing. And weren't going to necessarily vote for him, or really weren't pumped about it at all if they were. And they're already saying, well, that does it. I'm sorry. This is ridiculous. Pulling it across.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it's amazing too, going back to the Secret Service. Like, if it was me, I'd be yelling at this man at this point, like, dude, I'm trying to protect you. Like, help me help you. Like, make my job easier. Just get in the car.
It's like when he was trying to get in the car and he stood up on the rail and his head was above the roof line of the car.
Like, Mr. President, please get in the car.
It's like when you're fighting a toddler to get in their car seat. You're like,
oh my God,
Hey.
yes.
All I know is that President Trump apparently walks bow-legged because those giant balls he's got hanging down there. If somebody shot me in the head, I would not be standing tall.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't know that I would.
Oh, he's gonna wish he didn't, because the adrenaline is gonna stop at some point this evening, and then he's gonna realize I have a hole in my ear and it hurts really friggin' bad.
That's way worse than any piercing I've ever had. So,
as someone who has weaved when he should have bobbed, I can concur. When the
exactly
adrenaline
same situation, brother. I zigged when I should have zagged. Yeah,
I love it. Fox News, they keep showing the videos, and they, like, when they're putting him in the car, you can see kind of the crowd in front of the car and everything. And there's this older man with, like, kind of the grayish goatee and everything, flipping the bird, and you can see him mouthing "F you" at the camera, like, to the media.
I know, I saw that.
I love that man right now.
Well,
like, he is all of us.
You can see, though, that even though he has adrenaline pumping, he's absolutely unsteady on his feet as he's getting up. He's very much in shock. And then he regains it a little bit as they get him closer to the car. So, that's
absolutely. I mean, that's.
It wouldn't surprise me if he soiled himself. Any of us would. Like, I mean, this is just a horrific situation that who knows what the after effects are going to be. I mean, that is insane.
Catherine, come here. Do you want to? I got the tiny tyrant kind of wandering through, like, as a teenager going through this. What do you think about all this?
Catherine, this will be in your history books.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I first saw it, I was like, I don't really believe this. Did this actually happen? And then I saw it on the news, and I was just like, this is going on right now. 2 people got caught up in this, and they lost their lives. Like, that's someone's families, friends, daughters, sons.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you're the one that sent us the first video of it.
Yeah.
Butler County would have meant that he would have had to experience this, and I'm glad that the president's safe. I heard that he's doing okay now. But again, I just want to go back to that individual who lost their life today. That individual came here looking for hope and inspiration in this upcoming cycle, and unfortunately, is going to be with us. So I just hope the world sees what happened here today and is inspired to action. And when I say into action, I mean to prayer, to vote. Of course, to bring God back into our society here, because this is the act of a godless society that we saw today.
Thank you for talking to us, Mayor. I'm glad that you're okay. Glad your family's okay. Unfortunately, as you just heard,
that's actually a good interview
at that rally, confirmed dead, according to local officials. We're still trying to figure out exactly what all played out here.
It's supposed to be muted.
All right, Alexis, thank you so much for all that on the ground coverage and with the witnesses
there.
We
don't mind the interviews like
years ago
this.
were doing the
that was a
morning
good
show,
one.
the
Like,
morning
I was
that
exactly
Congressman
right.
Steve Scalise was shot, and that
I
horrific situation of what happened there on that ball field as they were practicing. He's got a post now on X saying, "Praying for President Donald Trump. There's never any place for
that way you guys can
violence."
talk.
He would know it.
Right.
I wasn't aware you guys were hearing it because you shouldn't have been. I was confused.
Oh yeah, we definitely can hear it when you share them like that. As long as you can still hear everybody talking over it, I don't mind it,
Yeah,
because it's news. We're all watching it and experiencing it together.
And there's not really a way to clip these interviews just yet. I mean, that'll be extra episodes on other KLRN shows here in the next few days too. But as of right now, this is ongoing. So it's really cool to be able to hear these interviews with the people who were actually there. And that dude is right. I mean, the one that they were just interviewing in the white shirt, this should be a call to action for Republicans, but not in the same way that apparently the Democrats and the left have taken it to be a call to action.
She went home for a Saturday morning
But say, I'm seeing some other reports now that's saying that the shooter's dead, one spectator is dead, and the other injured. So they're changing it now. Here, this is to hurt. But I just saw another one that said one spectator dead and one injured. We know the shooter.
I think we're going to have a few hours of kind of conflicting reports as things come to be. And of course, you have to realize, too, that there's people transported to the hospital. Families have to be notified. Some reporter thinks they know something. They talk to one person that thinks they know something. So, and we all know eyewitness accounts are quite unreliable at times. So, but now there is a guy that is whatchamacallit? He is an ER doctor, and he has been interviewed several times, and he's got blood on his shirt, and he was trying to assist a bystander who he says was shot in the head. So that may be the death.
I shared that video on X earlier too. I think you may have shared it first. I'm not sure.
I don't have any sympathy or anything. Yeah, I don't have any sympathy or anything for the shooter, but these other people, like, it's like that guy was saying in the interview, they were here because they wanted some kind of change. They were looking for hope for, the next 4 years. And apparently they have lost their lives over this. And, that's not okay. Like, I don't care how you feel about Trump. The people who support him, I mean, even Trump, I mean, he's an innocent person too, but these other people, it's like another degree of innocence added to that. Like, I mean, they're not the man that these people hate. So, I mean, that person.
Here we go. Biden released. There's a statement for immediate release from President Joe Biden. I have been briefed on the shooting at Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania. I'm grateful to hear that he's safe and doing well. I'm praying for him and his family and for all those who were at the rally as we await further information. Jill and I are grateful to the Secret Service for getting him to safety. There's no place for this kind of violence in America. We must unite as one nation to condemn it. Bull fucking shit. He had nothing to do with that.
No, he didn't write that.
Yeah.
Congressman from Florida. If we have our colleague,
I mean, short of an actual appearance in front of the American media, this is the other major party's opponent, just mere months out from a presidential election in which you're running against him, and you have condemned him as being that he will be the harbinger of the destruction of democracy, and he gets shot at, and you don't even get out of bed to make an appearance. Unacceptable.
Yeah, they probably didn't have him perked up in time, so they just had a press release written up and somebody else read it because they're like, we can't put him on camera right now.
He will deliver a statement to the nation,
which is part of the big problem of why this guy has no ability to lead this country.
Yeah, that's why, like, the leftists talk about, well, I don't want a convicted felon or anything like that. I'm like, what? So you want an Alzheimer's patient? Like, I've dealt with Alzheimer's in my life. I know how debilitating this is. We do not need someone like that running our freaking country.
Assassination attempt on former President Trump, and the more we are seeing, Bill,
it's just insane.
And hearing reports.
Yeah, I keep saying though, like, if I was Trump, like, especially that one picture we were talking about, him, with his fist up in the air with the flag behind him and the blood on his face. Great optics right there. But if I were him, I would do an interview right there, like in the hospital room, like in my hospital gown and everything, like bandages, whatever else they had to do to fix me up. I would do an interview, like a little press conference right there in that hospital room.
Extraordinarily
lucky. I wonder about that too.
Yeah.
What is looking like
like, I mean, the optics here, I think they just handed him the election.
Okay. Apparently, he just released a statement.
Events that we're seeing unfold here, but it is absolutely shocking. But
yeah, Jen was just kind of rattling off everything that the Biden's quote unquote Biden's statement said.
Back there, it explains
why either his comms intern or KJP. I don't know who. Someone else wrote that.
I say there's some kind of script writer going on. It's like, look, just somebody go out and read this. Like, we got to get something out there from the administration. They can't put him on camera right now because it's so late in the day.
If indeed the person
I'm surprised on the bottom of the thing it doesn't say dictated but not read.
Yeah.
We want to be very cautious about this, but it is.
I swear, this whole thing, this is such a mess. Like, our country has turned into
just extraordinarily.
And I've tried to stop cussing and everything, but the only term that I can think of to say is everything has turned into a shit show.
Fairly shortly.
Yeah, it is.
For all my sports people out there, I thought you'll like this. The guy I follow that covers college football said, in football terms, this is when the quarterback gets sacked and then gets right up, taunts the other team, pumps up the crowd, and throws a touchdown on the next play, aka Trump winning the election. Yep, that's exactly right.
She was dispatched.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they handed this to him because this is going to energize so many people that were otherwise kind of on the fence because, oh, the Democrats are going to cheat anyway. I mean, I think that there should be numbers now that are so large in favor of Trump that they can't get away with cheating, that they literally can't say that this was faked.
And when we were up on that media stage, I was standing there watching the former president.
He's probably going to give remarks now.
And he was actually referencing a big graph and saying, like, look how many things have changed under the.
All right, well, we have an Amish here. So.
And then all of a sudden,
oh, hey, Ordy. We got Ordy with us now.
Awesome.
Enforcement sources were possible gunshots. So
well, hopefully we have Ordy with us now.
We're inside of that rally, Bill. I'm just going to check in with people as we.
It shows you.
No, Fuzzy Chimp.
You were inside.
He said he was having audio problems.
And what did you see?
So we heard
y'all know Fuzzy Chimp. Fuzzy Chimp com on Twitter. He said Joe Biden is expected to address the nation and tell Americans they shouldn't actually try to shoot Hitler.
Probably 15 away from
that, oh my God, that is amazing. Oh, Chimp is the best. He does that Monday morning meme madness on Twitchy, and his snark it cannot be beat.
So when this was all happening, because now when you play it back, you can kind of figure it
I
out.
say we
people are saying too, and I agree. Like,
it's happening. Did you know?
Yeah.
I don't ever want to hear about January 6th ever again. Just shut it up
Yes.
all the way. Like, come on, guys.
Somebody we turned around, we seen smoke literally coming out of the barrel.
As I CNN, we actually switched it over since Rick has got the Fox News feed going, and right now their Chiron says, from the Secret Service, quote, the former president is safe. Just a second ago, a spokesperson is now saying ATF agents are en route to the Trump rally site. A second ago, they said that, shots were fired and, Trump was escorted off the stage with like blood on his face. So CNN seems to be kind of doing all right for now.
But when you heard those pops,
oh yeah, no, it was their print. Their live coverage was actually fine the majority of the time. It was their print coverage that was garbage on their website. And I found that to be true.
I've only got
Facebook open on my phone
than not.
But I found that to be true more often than not, that it's their editorial print side for the website that is, doing all these narratives and kind of trying to play with words. And the actual coverage is more news-based that's on TV. When they're covering live events. I'm not talking about their commentators. I'm talking about when they're just straight up covering live events.
Yeah, they keep showing like the... Yeah, they keep showing the video and everything, and I mean, there's really no way to get around that on live TV, so they have to be a little bit better. But
glad you're okay. But that's what we're hearing.
Yeah, in print, like it's an entirely different ballgame, apparently.
To the Butler County District Attorney,
the entire different news media, like an entirely different section of their news media. It's an entirely different team.
All right, we're going to bring in
So
Congressman Dan
they're
Muser,
used to
out of Pennsylvania.
the manipulation side of things. I think a lot more with that, because who goes to CNN.com to read anything unless you're wanting that kind of coverage? It's a little bit different on TV.
There have been multiple studies that show 99% of the time people don't read past the headlines. So CNN knows that they can just write a headline and people will think that that's what's true.
It sounded like it was very close. I was sitting in the front row.
Yeah, exactly.
There's that older guy on the feed again. Like, I love that guy.
Then we saw the president seeming grab.
Yeah, the one that was shooting a bird and mouthing F you at the media cameras.
He knew he was being fired upon.
Yeah, the tiny tyrant loves that guy too now.
I saw him and I was like, amen to that guy.
But say you don't like it normally when I start talking politics, but there's something I've always said for years now is that you don't hate the media enough, and like everybody says that too. And that's why, because the media for so long has been directly lying to people, like, and blatantly. So yeah, people are very, very disenfranchised with the current media. So that's why I tell you, like, if you see something on TikTok or Instagram or something, like, just come and ask us questions. Like, we'll explain something to you if you wonder about it.
I didn't see the Secret Service necessarily firing.
And honestly,
There's
like
a
that's
video
what
going
I'm
around.
here to do. So
There's a video going around
up
that's
on the roof certainly makes
possibly
sense because that did seem to be
the
where
shooter
the sound of
after
gunfire was
he's
coming
been
from.
put
But
down.
Hey,
actually did not witness
do y'all know about this Politico
scattering and
thing from July the 8th?
But when I said the Secret
What
Service
Biden
responded,
said?
they were
what's the headline?
He's talking to donors on Monday, which was the 8th.
once even the Secret Service
And
got
his quote
surrounded the
is, I have one job,
there was
and that's to beat Donald Trump. I'm absolutely certain I'm the best person to be able to do that. So we're done talking about the debate. It's time to put Trump in a bullseye.
He doesn't
Oh,
represent that
dang.
district necessarily.
And that was from July the 8th, is what Biden said in
And
talking to
today's the
Donald Trump.
13th. So
And that's from Politico.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
saw that
also-
actually. I actually saw that a few days ago, and then I saw someone immediately after the shooting highlight that, and I couldn't quite remember. I remembered him say, I remember reading it, but I couldn't quite remember what it was. And then everything went to hell, and I never went back and looked and pulled it up. So, you know, and it's one of those things where it's like, of course, like there's hyperbolic speech and all of that, but when something like this happens, just like they took everything he said literally whenever January 6th happened, like it does put it into a different light when people say that kind of stuff, and then we actually have a conversation about what is or isn't incitement.
But that goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like, you know, the Democrats are always talking about the Republicans' violent rhetoric, and I named off like 2 incidences where their rhetoric actually did cause violence. I mean, one of them was an attempted mass shooting.
Walking into this police station right behind me, Bill, and we are minutes away from
Of a
President
ton
Biden
of our
addressing the nation
elected representatives
against the former President Donald Trump earlier today, Bill.
Well, a lot of people throwed a big fit about when Trump mentioned a bloodbath, talking about
it was violent rhetoric. It was going to cause
but
violence.
he wasn't even talking. He was talking about the economy, the economic bloodbath, and they twisted that like he was threatening people if he doesn't win the election.
That he was going to physically kill them or have them killed. Like, it was insane. And now stuff like this happens, and you know they're not going to see this. You can point this out to them all day long until we are blue in the face, and they're going to say, yeah, well, that's different. Because apparently it's different when you have that D by your name.
Again, as you guys were gearing up for our coverage here,
Wait, you want to look
a
at
shock
chat?
of the situation this afternoon as we learn more and more details trickling in.
Go to my X page.
So apparently Biden is about to address the nation, so as soon as we have that, we'll jump to it if they don't.
I say I've got my
I think
mom
they
up.
had too much pressure. They had too much pressure. He had to come on, but they needed time to, you know, give him his cocaine.
Yeah.
I was going to say it's past his window.
These reports come in, and
I've got my mom asking in the Facebook chat as she wonders if they're going to release the shooter's name and political view. And I'm kind of wondering, I bet that they'll try to hide this.
Your question, Shannon, about political discourse.
Because, I mean, it's not a Trump supporter who tried to assassinate Trump. It's not going to be that. It's just not.
I think it's an important.
Oh, they'll cover it with something.
Yeah, like we're going. That shooter's name is going to be buried, and their political views, their social media is going to be scrubbed by X, by Facebook, by Instagram, whoever, wherever
I've seen
else
an
they have it.
unconfirmed report that supposedly the shooter is an Antifa member, but it hasn't been confirmed yet.
Tone down our rhetoric across the spectrum, but
I mean, it's definitely
You times that too.
Discussion about how.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously going to be a leftist.
For not just
Because
days, weeks, months, years, some of it extremely vitriolic.
Daniel
we all
brought
know
up
it's
a good
the
point.
Amish. We're always
Yeah.
doing stuff like this.
Which we don't have yet, I'm sure.
Yeah, y'all are not
Yeah,
allowed
this
to
is
have
why- this is why
technology, so
Elon
unless
Musk
you're
is kicking you
shunned, you
guys
can't
off
have a
of Twitter.
gun.
That is going to happen, perhaps at high decibels.
This is why Elon Musk keeps kicking all of y'all off of Twitter. You're dangerous.
Yeah, we are.
Warning from Joe Biden.
We're dangerous
so
a
I may have
lot.
to interrupt you, Charlie. I'm going to get a little more information. Jackie Heinrich is saying that per law enforcement
How much
source,
even allowed to
shooting was killed
have
by
gun?
Secret Service counter sniper team. If you have a sniper
They
team
have to be
that's
black guns because
responding,
Amish don't like
some
anything
distance
flashy.
away.
They can't look
Charlie,
chrome
go
or
ahead,
anything.
but I
No, it's very
had to
plain.
interrupt you.
There's no. It hasn't been Bubba. It's not a Hello Kitty dub.
Thank God the president is.
We're going to have to eventually make one of those when the tiny tyrants allowed to have guns legally. Yeah. She's standing there. She goes, I heard Hello Kitty.
When you get old enough for your birthday, we're gonna get you a Hello Kitty
AR-15.
AR-15.
And it's of course an
Nice.
unspeakable tragedy to think of a citizen going to participate.
But so she already handles them pretty well. I mean, the AR-15's it's a good gun. So.
Here's Todd.
Shortly, I hope, when I get back.
Hang on, I'm bringing him up.
Yeah.
Look, there's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's
A parent shooting.
It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country. We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this. And I want to thank the Secret Service and all the agencies, including the state agencies, that have been engaged in making sure that people and we have more detail to come relative to other people maybe injured in the audience. I don't have all that detail. We'll make that available to you. I may be able to come back a little later tonight, but we'll put out a statement if I'm not able to if it's not convenient for you all. But the bottom line is that the Trump rally was a rally that he should have been able to be conducted peacefully without any problem. But the idea that there's political violence or violence in America like this is just unheard of. It's just not appropriate. And everybody must condemn it. Everybody. I'll keep you informed, and if I'm able to speak to Donald, I'll let you know that as well. So far, it appears he's doing well, number one. Number two, that there's thoroughly investigating what happened to anyone else in the audience. We have some reports, but not final reports. And every agency in the federal government, I'm going back to my phone to speak with the federal agencies that are being put together again to give me an updated briefing. Has anything happened? They learned any more in the last couple hours. So thank you very much, and I hope I get to speak to them tonight.
What the fuck was that?
I'll get back to you if I do. Okay?
Mr. President, do you think this was an assassination attempt?
I don't know enough to. I have an opinion,
What
but
else
I
would
don't
you
have
call
any
it?
facts. So I want to make sure we have all the facts before I make any more comments.
Dude,
Thank you.
somebody took a shot at him at a rally. What would you call it? That
Sure,
was
it's been
pretty
said,
much.
but Trump got up faster from getting shot than Biden got up from falling off his bicycle.
You heard the question about whether or not he thought it was an assassination.
That was kind of
attempt.
pointless.
That was ridiculous.
By
He
all
didn't say
accounts,
anything.
and the witnesses that we have heard from. in
First of
that
all, he
field
said
and
just
that
woke him up.
over the past
he
2
said
hours,
political violence like this in this country is
someone,
unheard of. Excuse
maybe
me,
more
what?
than one person, had the intent
I'm sorry.
Was he
to show by that
was he
rally
asleep
today
through January? Was he
take President
was he
Trump
asleep through most of
and his wife
2017 and
off
all
this.
of 2020? Just
That
curious.
did not happen.
Yeah.
It has
And the
been unheard
reason
of from the
might
right-wing
be
extremists that they claim are so dangerous. It
following
hasn't been
video
unheard of from the left.
that you're about
Sorry.
to see.
You know, when you call everybody
will
a
begin
Nazi
seconds
every day, this
before
is what happens.
You can see the president grab his right ear, and then after that, there's a series.
This is an
of
absolute
pop,
Secret Service
pop.
failure.
We're going to take you back to that moment, Butler, Pennsylvania, 50 miles due north
Welcome back,
of
Laura.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, sorry, our Wi-Fi, like I always say, is wonky, so I'm trying to re-add the
All good.
X and
Has anybody else heard anything? I saw a Newsmax report that someone reported a man on a roof well before the shots were fired.
Supposedly, there's some people that have said they did. They pointed it out to police.
Yeah, that was in a BBC interview. A guy who's outside the security perimeter claims he'd been pointing out the shooter for like 5 minutes. And again, you have a shooter on a roof 400 feet away. How does Secret Service not get that? That's what I've been hearing.
I agree with you. I will also say, though, that I take someone that says something like that after the fact and says, I saw it. I'll take it with a grain of salt because everybody likes to put it in there, like, you know, and you kind of think, I think I saw someone. Yeah, I did. You know, when something like this happens, people that are there, everyone, it's just kind of human nature. They involve themselves. And so I think, you know, maybe he really did, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's an after the fact kind of rewrite.
Yeah, eyewitness, you know, that they're not as reliable as you would like for them to be.
They rarely ever are, because especially in a high pressure situation like that, and I've even told you that because of the some of the true crime stories I've even told you, how eyewitness testimony is varied wildly from what the actual event was. Because I mean, you're in shock, your adrenaline's running, like, and especially the way in interviews, like with police or anything like that, the questions that they ask can actually kind of change things in your mind. So you remember things kind of a different way based on a question, because they're looking for a certain answer. So, yeah, I mean, with this kind of video evidence, I mean,
Also, our
at least
minds, like, I've been in several, not assassination attempts or anything like that, but I think all of us have been in, kind of crisis type situations. And the way your mind remembers it is like you're thinking it is exactly what you saw, but then you start to take in what other people are saying, the different sights and sounds you start to think of, and this and that. And you create a picture, kind of a representative of what it was. It's not exactly it's not a video capture in your brain, even though you think it is. I mean, there's so many studies done on that, which is why
Mhm.
they like to have actual evidence over eyewitness testimony anytime they can.
Well, we've
I mean,
talked
you're
about that on juxtaposition when we've been talking about the Mandela effect, and especially when we were explaining the difference between that and false memories. They did a study with people who survived 9/11, and they interviewed them weeks after it happened, a year after it happened, 5 years after it happened, and 10 years after it happened. And then it's not that the story changed, but when they showed them what they said right after 9/11, they said, "I don't know why I said that. That didn't happen."
When you see the blood across the right cheekbone and the American
Yeah, I mean,
flag
your
against a
subconscious,
brilliant
like your
blue
brain will
satin
actually
sky
record
in Pennsylvania
basically every
today.
detail of
There
everything,
was
but
a
unless you
third
have an
moment
eidetic
myself,
memory or
Shannon,
something like
the
that,
video of him
you
getting
don't
into that
actually
tampon,
consciously
and
recall it,
before the
and
door
there's so
shuts, he
much
pumps his fist in the air one
not
final
really
time.
stigma or
You heard him
taboo
say, and
necessarily,
this
but a
was
lot
his
of
voice
questions
now,
around like
"Let me get my
subconscious memory
shoes.
recall,
Let
especially
me
like
get my
hypnosis and
shoes."
everything.
It
Like, you
happened
can't
at
be
least
relied on
twice,
because the
maybe
person
3
administering
times.
the
The
test,
president
even if they are
is
trying to be
rightfully
objective, may
alive at
accidentally
this
kind of
moment
implant something in your
by mere
subconscious that alters
centimeters
that memory.
of a bullet that
So,
had
like,
entered
unless
They
you have a
also,
photographic
grazed
eidetic
his right
memory,
ear
then
right.
on that
you don't
stage
have total
about 2
recall.
hours ago.
Yeah,
About
it's
going
just
back to
that is going to
Orty's
be a
example
picture
of
from
the
the
people
history
from
books,
9/11 thing, I don't know
essentially,
why I said
as
that
we
just then.
watch this
Well, you
unfold
also have
live
to
on
understand that there's
television,
a
and
whole
then
lot of,
the
like we were already
fallout as
talking
we
about
hear
with
from
Trump,
people
like
across
there's the
the
shock,
political
there's
spectrum,
the
including
trauma, there's
President
the
Biden, who said he
adrenaline.
hopes to
All of
speak,
those
he said, with
things
Donald
affect your
tonight.
brain chemistry
As
in those
And the
Shannon
moments.
repressed
posited earlier,
memories.
it's very
Yeah.
possible we hear from President Trump tonight.
There
And
was that
they've
whole, what was it,
they've
the
got to be
satanic
considering that
scare
and
and
letting
everything,
folks
where
know that
those
he
quote
is
unquote
good. At
repressed
least all
memories
reports
of
are
the
good
children
spirits,
who
that
were
he is fine
supposedly
and safe, as
abused
we've
by
heard from
satanic cult
secret service
members and
and
their
from his
daycares and
campaign as
whatnot,
well.
turned out all to be
People can't
false,
just hear from
because
something on
the
social media or
Was
else.
right
quote
here in
unquote
Austin.
He
doctors
put
who
out a
were
message to
doing
let
this
people know
were
how he is
implanting those
doing,
memories
just days
into
away
the
from coming
children
here
and
to the
making them kind
convention
of say
where,
the things that they
frankly,
needed the children to say.
security is
One
always
of them was right here in Austin,
exceptionally tight.
just
I can
like 10
only
minutes
imagine
from
that
where
the
I grew up,
city
where there
will
were
be
people
even
that
on
we knew
tighter
had sent their
lockdown if
kids
that
to
is
that daycare.
possible.
And the
There is a
husband and
march
wife that
planned
ran that
here in
daycare were
Milwaukee
both sentenced, went to
protesting the
prison.
Republican
And it
Party
was
and
like
President Trump.
22 something years
They've
later
battled
that
back and forth to get permission
their
and to get the
sentences were
permits and
overturned and
the
they were
things that
released
they needed
because
here in Milwaukee to
they
get
never
done.
found any of the
That we
evidence that was
understand
there. They
is
were
still
claimed to be,
planned for
these children
Monday,
claimed that
but it'll be
bodies were
very interesting
buried,
to
that
see
they
how
saw
this and the
all of this
convention in
stuff, and it was all
Chicago and
this
other
staging. And it
political events,
ended up that it was
how things
the
change
leading
after
of the
something
investigators,
so
of their
shocking
parents,
and what
all of those
appears to
things
be
that,
an attempt, as you
caused them
said, to
to
take
say
out a
this
former
stuff.
president
And
on this
it's
day as he
incredibly
rallied in
scary and
Pennsylvania.
sad
As you
that,
see on the screen is being
that could
investigated as
happen, which is why a
assassination
lot of those
attempt.
cases have turned out to be
President Joe Biden
100%
said
false.
during his statement that he may come out again
Yeah,
tonight.
and we got
If
somebody in the
appropriate,
X
was the
chat that said
suggestion. So
even
we're waiting
eidetic
on
memory
that.
wouldn't be
Butler,
perfect
Pennsylvania
witness in
is
a
a
thing
town
like
of
this,
about
not when the shooting
13,000.
is currently
Butler,
happening. They may have
Pennsylvania
the
has
recall
counties,
later
about
on,
population
but like they're in the
200,000.
heat of the
This is
moment.
north
Like,
of
I mean, that's
Pittsburgh.
still,
It's
no matter
considered
like how
rural.
genius you are or
This
however your
really
brain
has
works,
become
that's still a traumatic
backbone
incident that
of
you're
Donald
involved in,
Trump's
like you're part
political
of.
career.
Well, they
Middle
also,
America,
eidetic
memories to also remember exactly what they said. They remember times, like timestamps if they saw it. Like they remember very specific things as it relates to like what they exactly did, not necessarily always everything around them, but like they can recall every conversation they had. You know what I mean? There's a difference in then also seeing everything, you know what happened, and they can tell you what day anything happened, but that doesn't mean that their exact picture of something they saw is always 100% perfect either.
It's not the entire picture because they
Right.
recall entirely what they personally experienced. But that doesn't mean, like, say somebody was in the crowd tonight and had an eidetic memory. If they were looking in a different direction, no, they're not going to be able to recall the shooter because they didn't actually see the shooter.
Campaign season. I believe that we have Congressman Steve Scalise with us, who is a
Scalise coming on.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
I'll bring the volume up once he starts talking. By the way, we currently have 868 across all feeds.
868. That's nice.
No, he was the only one seriously injured. Okay.
You know, my first thoughts were to pray for President Trump. You know, early reports, you really weren't sure what happened. You saw blood coming from his ear, but you know, as we see now, I mean, it was a clear assassination attempt. I think there was maybe some divine intervention in preventing that from being much worse than it could have been. There were other deaths. We pray for all of those that were injured or killed innocently. You know, the shooter was down, and you know that you saw law enforcement take swift action, and we saw that too on the ball field. Law enforcement is the first to go run towards the danger. They did it today. They did it on the ball field, and that's one of the things that keeps more people safe when evil people show up to do things like this. And there's no place for it. There's just no place for violence in our politics in America, and we can never accept it. We all need to forcefully denounce it.
Got a statement from the FBI a moment ago, sir. FBI personnel are on the scene in Butler, Pennsylvania. The FBI will continue to work jointly with the U.S. Secret Service as the investigation moves forward.
Speaking of that he was part of, he was the one seriously injured, but I'm racking my brain. I cannot remember. Was anybody else injured in that shooting on the softball field?
Oh, I mean, other than Steve Scalise, I don't think so.
Staff and there was like an aide and a staff member or something, but not another congressman.
Right.
And a gentleman had driven.
Yeah, and they say the AR-15 like improves accuracy and makes more victims, and yet this guy was only able to shoot one guy on a softball field full of senators. Like,
to be there at 7 o'clock in the morning. And I believe
so I always tell the left, like, the accuracy is not about whatever gun you use; it's about the user and how well trained they are.
Taking batting practice, and Brad Wenstrup, a Republican colleague of yours who did time in Iraq. He's a doctor by way of a
Mama had said in the Facebook chat, if the tiny tyrant is old enough to choose her gender, she's old enough to own a gun. Yeah.
To your body.
You don't want to give her an AR though, because you know that's.
And I imagine
young kids, they're still, you know, they're more suited for cruise service weapons. You like machine guns and mortars. Plus, it builds teamwork.
Is a hero of mine, Brad.
Oh, she would love that. You know she would.
Well, she's getting ready to get her first car, so I'm thinking an Abrams.
That got canceled, so he stayed later than he normally would.
In Alabama, you still have to be 21 to have a handgun. Right? You can be 18 and have a rifle, but for some reason you have to be 21 to have a pistol.
Both were hit during the shootout, and
I think that's federal anymore.
Their life to protect mine and everyone else's.
Yeah, I think that's
looks
most
like there's more
states.
people who are.
Every Republican on that battlefield. There would have been over.
Looks like there were more people that were informing the police and Secret Service about a suspicious man on the roof with a rifle.
A lot of prayer, a lot of miracles, and I know.
So that kind of also makes me wonder, like, was this somebody, like, was there, I don't know if you'd call him a mole in the Secret Service or somebody with security or something that let somebody through?
How in the world? I mean,
because the security's so tight.
You know, he's a special man. He's a strong man. I know that.
Anytime anybody from the House or the goes to speak, there's counter snipers all over the place. You would think that a former president would have counter snipers on an equal or higher elevation. But yeah, this guy's on a roof. You know, he wasn't like in the crowd. So is okay. So there goes the security service failed because of the everybody passed through a metal detector. Well, okay, so. They were on the roof outside the
bipartisanship that Americans rarely see.
But that's what I was saying earlier. Like, even then, thanks to like the assassination of JFK, because he was in the library depository window,
Yeah,
which
thank
was
you.
kind of
When you
offset
hear all
from the
these
parade route.
calls, and you've been hearing
But
it for
now
months,
they have
with
an
Donald
actual
Trump
perimeter,
wins, it's
like
going
a
to be
radius
the rise of
around
America. Those kind of
the
things, that
stage, basically,
incendiary
the
rhetoric
stage is
needs
the
to
center
stop.
of the event.
Because all it takes is one
And there's
person
a wide
who's just
radius that they
unhinged
go out
to
and they
hear that
secure
and
all
go
the
act on it
buildings and everything
and think
around
that
that.
that's their signal to go take
So
somebody
one,
out.
how far away
We
was the
saw it in the
shooter?
case with the baseball
400
shooting with
feet.
me.
Okay,
Somebody who
that's
was
Yeah, according
entirely
to
too close.
that
How
was
did they get
it was
by
over the
with this?
top,
How did that
and
ever
he
go through
acted on it.
security?
And in this case, we'll find out more information.
Here, I'll
We
drop
don't
it
need to jump to
in
conclusions,
the
but
KLRN
I
chat, and you
think we
can
can all say
view
it
it,
would be good if the
copy
rhetoric
and
just
paste
gets
it from
dialed
the
down. Let's focus on the issues that
our
people
shared
care
chat.
about. This is a great country. This is the greatest country in the history of the world.
I saw some photos, some still shots also that they were snipers on an elevated position for the Secret Service there too. So I don't know how they would have missed somebody else. That should stand out like a, sore thumb. You know what I
Sir,
mean?
thank you. Steve Scalise, the Republican from Louisiana. Really
They will
appreciate
open
your
up this
input.
link.
Yeah, I just dropped it in the
We're gonna bring in
KLRN
Brett Baer for a moment here.
feed
Brett's about to get
chat.
on
It
a
should
plane.
come up in
Before I
the
do, however, I just
shared
received
chat
a
in a minute.
text from the Trump
That's
family.
it shows a map of
And
the
I'm gonna
location
read
where
it
the
word
shooter
for
was
word
and where
because
Trump
it's
was
not
in
that
relation
long.
to it.
Yeah,
It's
we're
Eric
looking
Trump,
at it
the
now.
son of
Like,
Donald
okay,
Trump, who says,
there's
my
that's
question
entirely
was,
too
how's
close.
Dad?
That is a
His
building,
answer
that's a
was,
parking lot,
toughest
everything
guy
that
I've
should
ever
have
met.
been.
They should have had Secret Service on that roof.
That from the
Yeah.
medical facility
That's
in
what I mean.
Pennsylvania.
That's where you put a counter snipers on that roof.
Exactly. That's a prime spot for
Because that's
Secret
covering
Service
the
to
three
be there.
buildings behind Trump.
And had he still been president, there would have been.
Probably.
All are saying good son.
But that's what I'm asking. Like, is this something like, was this an inside job maybe? Like, I don't want to be all conspiracy theorists, but things are just weird anyway.
Biden, the White House has been saying no that, what's his name, Kennedy Jr.?
Yeah, RFK.
Yeah, they've been saying no, he can't have any kind of Secret Service protection.
Yeah, we
while
actually
he's-
had somebody in the chat saying that RFK needs security ASAP.
Yeah. So I wonder if his Trump Secret Service detail so small that they didn't have enough to.
Hey guys, I don't mean to cut in, but I have a development from James O'Keefe with some of this I thought might be pertinent.
Okay, yeah.
So
Yeah,
shooter
go ahead.
per James O'Keefe, shooter found dead on rooftop with vantage point to stage, which we just discussed. Secret Service tasked counter assault teams to cover all vantage points, rooftops most obvious. Counter assault teams are outsourced professionals. Unlikely they make these mistakes, even B teams tasked to cover Trump. Glaring error or intentional overlook confirmed with former CA team organizer and trainer.
In these moments, sometimes online goes way faster.
That is kind of suspect.
That is very suspicious.
So we have to try to find out real.
So he goes on to say, while massive errors are possible, plausible, intentional overlook of rooftop is more likely with CA team assignments given by SS, who makes these possible. Deep state intel community, and then he keeps going.
Yeah, O'Keefe is really good usually too. So I mean, that's to me that's credible. But again, like I don't want to be all conspiracy theorists, but that has to be taken into consideration considering how many people hate like.
Yeah,
I mean, you're
I
talking,
do
you're
just
talking about a
want
rooftop 400 feet away. There's no way that shouldn't have been on somebody's radar. Something's up.
to.
Exactly, that should
I'm just
have
still saying, like,
been.
I know, but I'm still just saying that, like, he's had so many of these rallies, and while we all think anyone could shoot him at any given second, like, there have not been very major threats up to date. Like, he's not the current sitting president. He does get a lesser detail, and especially because he is not getting the greater detail that he will enjoy once he's officially nominated at the RNC. So he's not even technically the true nominee yet, to which they do then give more resources. Now, he obviously has enough money, or is supposed to be able to do whatever. But as far as the actual Secret Service goes, I just want to be careful about, like, whatever. We can say whatever the fuck we want. I don't care about that. I'm not ready to completely go there yet. I could totally see incompetence or laziness, giving it being, kind of just overdone a lot about, is this so scary? Why are, how they always talk about how dangerous everything is. And it's usually them thinking it's coming from the right, not that someone's going to come at the right. That's been the prevailing, mindset about all of this, which is stupid, but true.
Well,
Just remember the
that's what I said
difference between
earlier too. They're
conspiracy
not going.
theory and go ahead, Lola.
They're not going to take seriously any criticism of the rhetoric that they have spouted for years now. They're not going to take that seriously because they've been convinced the right is the violent side. Like, they're the ones that always commit the violence. Our side does not do this.
They'll be like,
Just
ha,
remember
ha,
the
ha,
difference between
Rittenhouse. And I'm like, ha, ha, ha. The people that attacked him and he defended himself against and was acquitted in court over. Yeah, okay.
That one's still ridiculous. Like, despite all the evidence being out there and being laid bare during the trial, they still believe that child is guilty of murder.
100%.
Yeah, I kind of hesitant to go take any kind of conspiracy theory kind of thoughts as well, but you can't help but to think it, you know.
If they are outsourcing to like a second party, like company or organization or something for security, I mean, are we sure that any of these people, even the Secret Service that he's officially allocated, are we certain that all of these people will take their job seriously regardless of who they are having to protect?
I think they will from now on.
We're going to have to find people that are. I mean, even if it turns out not to be the case, which I hope it's not the case, because then apparently we can't trust anybody anymore.
I just have a gut feeling, and this is just me thinking, that the most likely answer to this is whoever job it was, you know, the higher up, the elevated position, they probably just wasn't that particularly invested in it. I mean, this doesn't happen. I mean, if you look at it, it really doesn't happen. Trump talks so often. He has so many of these rallies. Nothing ever goes wrong. So you know these guys are like, it's just another day up here.
True. I mean, they could have just kind of slacked off.
That's what I was kind of getting at a little bit about getting kind of incompetent, lazy, and lackadaisical. Because I mean, and also because they know, as much as the media spouts it and the Democrats try to, these people that are actually investigating security concerns and getting the reports all the time, they know that it's bullshit about it being right-wing extremists that are the most dangerous. So they're sitting there though, they're in a crowd of right-wing supposed extremists, and they're like, he's fine. Everybody here's good and loves him.
So close,
right,
to hitting the right temple.
But I mean, that's just it. I mean, you can't let your guard down for a second, because I mean, somebody could very well come in with like the red hat and a MAGA shirt on or something, and they'll just be kind of waved through if they think that, you know, oh, nothing's going to happen, they're fine, you know, just.
Well, like I said, I think they was more interested in the actually coming through that gate, being right there so close. I don't know how. Still, if you look at that picture that was shared a minute ago, that was a clear, direct line from that rooftop.
I mean, my
absolutely
God, like
nothing.
a good pitcher could have stood where Trump was standing and probably pitched the ball and hit that building.
I mean, it's not out of the. That's a long throw. Back when I was playing ball, I probably could have done it. But 400 feet, not that bad.
Well, they're putting. I think someone put this in chat earlier. I've been trying to catch up, but you know, there are some sources reporting that you know, they've been asking for his detail to be beefed up for protection and resources for a while now, and they've been rebuffed by Biden's DHS. So if that's true, then there's another source to investigate there about why it's necessary and why wasn't it given, and you know, all of that.
Well, the fact it's supposedly beefed up by his opponent too. So I mean, there could be sabotage to include, like, if you want to go that.
This also goes back
conspiracy minded.
Just in the event, I would imagine.
Speaking directly to what you're
RFK,
saying,
right?
even back in January 6th, you know,
that someone lost their life there.
Even back in January 6th, he was asking for more. And it was always denied,
And that's documented. The DC mayor denied him, the Secret Service. I mean, it's ridiculous. But I was going to say that goes back to RFK Jr. too, with this whole being denied security thing. I had said months ago, regardless of threats, regardless of what the standard protocol is, The mere fact that his father was shot and assassinated on the campaign trail, which is one of the glaring marks on recent, modern politics in a presidential race, he should have been afforded it just for the mere fact of what his family has been through and who he is, for the peace of mind. I mean, just symbolically provide him Secret Service protection. And I think I don't know how they continue to not deny that at this point.
What you'll do is you'll magnetometer people.
That and like Orty had even posted on his page, like all these people like literally making violent threats over like for all the years that Trump has been in politics now. All the people like on X making all these horrifically violent threats or wishing these horrible things would happen, and Orty gets suspended for posting the letter K. Like just saying okay to somebody like just okay, I don't want to have this conversation anymore. Just K, whatever. And he gets suspended, but all these people are still up.
In fairness, that was my suspension.
And his family, and for the family of the person.
In fairness, that was my suspension 2 weeks ago. This time I was suspended for saying John McAfee, who is dead, would pistol whip somebody for the grifting piece of shit that they've become. So that's actually the violent.
They're going to try to find out where
that's the violent threat I am suspended.
A hypothetical about someone who's already dead and the violence they would commit.
Right.
Yeah, and it's not. I mean, obviously, pistol whipping somebody is a horrific thing because that's like a piece of steel or iron that like you're hitting somebody over the head with. But I mean, come on, like you're not saying, well, so and so, you should be shot for this, or you should die, like all these other people are saying right now.
But again, it's going to depend.
I mean, okay, I know we're not trying to do conspiracy theory, but even though current day, the difference between conspiracy theory and a well-known fact is about 6 months. But you got to remember, Secret Service is under Homeland Security. And we've seen how effective Mayorkas is his job. Plus, the dude is getting grilled like every 3 days on Capitol Hill. So, not saying anything, but kinda.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like I don't want to get too conspiracy minded, but just because of the distance between like where the shooter was versus where Trump was, like there is no rational reason why like even a downgraded security system would not have secured that building and anybody like restricted anybody from going into it. There's no rational reason for that.
Repeated in different ways in the coming days. We're still trying to wait to get all the facts in. I think that is always smart to do, but on its face, this is horrifying.
There's so much I have questions about on this one, especially regarding the security detail.
There's a blood-curdling scream from a woman that just chills you to the core. The terror, the horror, and this at a campaign rally for a man running for president. This has no place in our country. And just to zoom out for a moment, think about the volatility that we already faced in American politics. With all the legal issues surrounding President Trump, the type of rhetoric that the former Attorney General just alluded to in that statement that we read, the turmoil on the Democratic side of the aisle with their likely nominee and some of the drama there. We were heading into a convention season, a summer season before a presidential election that was already simmering at about an 8 or 9 out of 10 on the temperature scale. And now
Twitter is all abuzz that this is fake and it was a BB gun and nobody heard anything.
Assassination attempt against a former president of the United States and the leading candidate.
I mean, you can hear it on video.
So I think it's totally appropriate for people to be calling for prayers.
I mean, even if it was just a 22, a friend of mine in grade school was killed with a 22. 22s can kill.
After watching forensic files religiously for years, a 22 is probably the most common firearm used in murders.
Take a collective step back and a breath and
you know that because I watch forensic files. That's what I go to sleep to sometimes. So.
In some cases, a 22 is actually worse because if it can make its way into, then it doesn't have the momentum to go through. It just kind of bounces around for a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Being reported that Trump is going to still attend the UFC fight tonight, by the way. And if he does, holy shit, y'all.
There are a lot of things that we don't know.
Oh my God, it's going to be amazing to see him like with a bandaged ear and everything at a UFC fight.
is that this
is
was
going
an
to
assassination
be
attempt.
ridiculous, and I mean their numbers are going to shoot through the roof. His numbers are going to shoot through the roof. That's. I mean, he should. If he can, he's able, and he's truly okay. He should.
I swear, like I said, this is
and it's unacceptable.
this right
He's
here
in
is
a
just the
country
biggest
right now, so he can do that.
Country
This is the biggest campaign ad, and I mean, it was handed to him on a silver platter.
Like this. And
by the people
I'm telling
who hate
you,
him most.
that's why I said, do not make a martyr of your enemy. It will not work out for you.
Situation for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Dumbest thing you can do.
Went out today to participate in.
I mean, it's like people were talking about, Trump has been kind of quiet with all this stuff going on with Biden recently, and I saw that quote all the time about, never interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake. Like, yeah, somebody obviously was keeping him from getting in front of cameras or running his mouth like Trump tends to do. But then after
but that's so
like,
it's so un-Trump to fault. Trump would be out there doing it anyway, saying, Sun Tzu, he was a loser. I'm not going to follow his advice. So it's kind of like,
remarkably disciplined for him.
Yeah, he's actually doing exactly what he should be doing. Shutting the fuck up.
Yeah, let them make their mistakes. Let them eat their own, especially because, I mean, we've all seen the left and the Democrats, like, okay, some are demanding that he does not give up and, he stays in the fight. And then you got all the celebrities saying, nah, dude, you got to go away.
Federal law enforcement source says the shooter is dead and that an AR-style rifle was recovered.
Can you imagine the ovation he'll get upon entering the
AR style.
Washington, D.C.
I had a 22 that was a replica of an M16. I am so tired of AR style weapon.
My son, just this last weekend, we went with friends to their ranch and they shot AR style 22. That's what they shot.
All right, so for just a moment, I would like to call everybody's attention to the screen. Hey, Colorado, come get your boys drunk.
Wow.
Regardless of where you're coming from politically, guys, you said.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
oh my God, that's a sitting representative too.
And they're gonna line up to vote for him again.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, they're gonna love. The left is gonna eat that up. Like his base is gonna love that.
Interruption. Here we go.
Yeah.
This is from
again, it's not like this should prove it definitively here and now that every time they say, "Oh, the right is violent," like y'all got all the like the Timothy McVeighs and all that kind of stuff. Like, no. Y'all are beating us. You are outsourcing all of this right now. Like, you're the ones doing this.
For their rapid response in the shooting that just
like, that may have been true 20 years ago, like when I was growing up. Sure, right-wing violence was a thing. Now that's not the case.
I don't mean to interrupt again, but this is sorry. I just saw the chat and I want to get into it while I can. If he does go to the UFC fight and they don't pump American Badass, somebody needs a new job. I'm just saying.
Yes.
Let's say we had somebody else down in the, I think it was Joaquin that said, American Badass, just as a comment. But
felt the bullet ripping through the skin. Much bleeding took place. So
Jeff was like, "Can you imagine what the ovation would be like if he enters a UFC fight?" And that's when that occurred to me.
That from Donald Trump.
Yeah, Daniel was just reading Delaney's comment in the chat, said a hair in the other direction and Trump's brain would be as effective as Biden's.
You could see his bloodied ear and that blood across his face.
Ooh.
As well. And one of our guests, Peter Forcelli, who was on moments ago, said,
"Well, I mean,
that's not untrue." So
probably was hit before he even realized.
I also seen a report from Newsmax where it's probably just speculation, but they think it looks like it may be a shrapnel wound instead of actual bullet wound on Trump. But I mean,
yeah, somebody reporting his broken
the way he was standing and he was, facing what, to his left, to his right, yeah, on the screen is to the left, but he was facing to the right and everything, and he's talking in that direction when the shots happen and when he grabs his ear and he drops. Yeah, right there.
Of a measurement different. And
so what would have been between him and the shooter, because the shooter's off to the right, obviously, because I'm sure they were probably aiming for like center of the forehead at that point, but they got the ear, so that person, the shooter, is on the right, like Trump is looking that direction. What would have been in between him that the bullet would have hit that would have caused shrapnel to hit his ear like
that's
that?
what I'm saying. It had to be either another person or part of the
Bill,
stage
that's
or
right.
something.
A hot
I don't
day
know.
here and a humid day in Butler, Pennsylvania.
And I don't know. I mean, that's just something that was said. I don't know anything if that
Yeah, I
was
mean
true or not.
that is interesting from a ballistic standpoint too. So, like, I think that's at least interesting enough to discuss. But
I like where here on the screen where it says Trump's quote says, "I heard a whizzing sound and felt a bullet rip through my skin." Golly, you know that's just terrifying. My goodness.
I say I don't care who you are. Like, a bullet whizzes past your head, like, and it even clips you. I mean, it could graze your scalp, it hits your ear, like something. You're injured by this, and you know how close it was.
I've had the bullets come whizzing by, so I know that sound, and it was hitting the truck that I was standing in front of.
By the way,
So I
like,
know how that sounds, but just the thought of it hitting the skin too, the feeling it rip through your skin like that. My goodness.
by the way, for those of y'all who don't know, Daniel has actually done mission trips in Africa, and one of the places that he was at, like,
when you heard those pops,
his guide and everything was like, "Get back in the truck. We need to leave now." Like, and that's when bullets started flying. So,
I knew something.
Yeah, we got
was
shot
wrong,
at
and
a few
people were
times.
running. Instantly, people were running and screaming.
yeah, I mean, as somebody who's
And
never
let's
experienced it, it's not something I
and
can
let's be
fathom. I
clear.
First thing I did was call my son.
But let's be
And your
very
son was pretty
clear.
close to
It
the
doesn't
hit.
matter
Who was
if it was
shot?
shrapnel
Did
or
he
the bullet.
describe
The
kind of
fact
what it
is,
looked like?
someone
Was that
tried
Yeah,
to assassinate
absolutely.
taken out by authorities?
the
Yeah,
former president
100%.
He said
Like,
there was blood
and
everywhere.
and
People were splattered
current
with blood.
front runner for the Republican
Yeah.
Party.
And he said it's
That
something I
is
never wanted.
no. It doesn't matter what it was. It's the attempt
Yeah.
in general, and the fact that there's someone else
And how
dead
close was your
because of
son
it.
sitting to this man who was shot?
He said he was about 6 feet away.
100%, you're correct on that.
I think
I
now,
say we've got
we
Rex
Washington
in the.
Post
there
reporting,
and
national
staging
news.
the pops. You don't
Trump
really know what's
leaves
going on.
rally
You're trying to
after
take cover,
loud
knowing that your
noises
son was so
erupt.
close and could have been shot.
Golly.
New feelings.
Oh my God.
You do not hate the media
I can't
enough.
believe it that this would happen.
I will
in
say
Butler,
that until my
Pennsylvania.
dying
And my
breath.
son
Like,
saw the
these are
shooter
the worst
on the roof
people.
of that AGR building.
USA Today, Trump removed from stage by
Walk me
Secret
through
Service
what he
after
told you
loud
about that,
noises
'cause we've seen,
startles
and Bill, you know
former
that too. We've seen
president
these
and
reports coming
crowd.
in, possible, photos
I'd
or
be
pictures of
freaking
people in the crowd
startled
trying to
too.
see,
Like,
what's
my
going on,
God,
where
somebody
the
just
shooter
fired a
was.
gun at me.
Where did your
Yeah.
son
And
see
I
it
was
possible?
actually
Well, no,
hit. Like,
It was on. He was laying on the roof of
yes,
the AGR building.
we are all Brick
No,
Tamlin
they're
at
gonna
this
start.
point. It
They're
wasn't
going to
screaming
try
loud
to.
noises.
So where is that?
They're going to try to
when
spin
you're
it that
looking
he's
at
as
the
feeble
former
as
president
Biden.
on
That's why
that
they're taking
stage,
this approach.
the AGR building is how far out?
Anyway, we have a
We got,
response from Trump that's going up on the screen now.
Being pretty close
okay,
to that.
yeah.
Like, are we talking about behind the stage, in front of the stage? Where is this?
Says, I want to thank the United States Secret Service and all of law enforcement for the rapid response on the shooting that just took place in Butler, Pennsylvania. Most importantly, I want to extend my condolences to the family of the person at the rally who was killed, and also to the family of another person that was badly injured. It is incredible that such an act can take place in our country. Nothing is known at this time about the shooter, who is now dead. I was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of my right ear. I knew immediately that something was wrong and that I had heard a whizzing sound, shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin. Much bleeding took place, so I realized then what was happening. God bless.
Wow.
And that's what Donald Trump posted on his Truth Social account. That's what it's called, right?
And to
Yeah.
find yourself potentially facing this situation at any moment that you're in service.
That's also something right there that
I want to give kudos to
he
the
took
agency.
he took and asked condolences to the family who was killed and injured too. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, did Biden? I don't recall Biden mentioning.
I don't know
Well,
what.
I was about to say, I don't know if he mentioned them or his press
Now,
I think
person.
he did. I think he did mention others possibly injured.
Okay.
But
and to be fair for him, it was early on too when he released
Yeah.
that.
yeah,
Not early enough, but a lot of the information was still coming in. So
Yeah. Even when he was on camera, like all this stuff was still coming
Yeah.
in at the time. So, because originally we thought that there were 2 killed, but now it's 1 killed, 1 injured, severely injured according to Trump. So,
Every minute of every day.
I don't think you have a minor
Think of the
gunshot.
number of stops. You think of what
I say there are some that are less serious than others, but yeah, I think every gunshot wound is a serious wound. I mean,
Sir, we're getting some information about how many rounds.
Tweet from Ohio Rep. Perez Gambari. As a photo, he says, remarkable photo captured by former White House press correspondent
Yeah, I'm about to put it on
colleague
screen.
Doug Mills. You can see what, if the picture's real, then you can actually see the bullet zipping by.
Imagine that based on what limited
Yeah, it'll be on the
information we
screen in
have.
about 30
Does that
seconds.
sound right to you?
Working on grabbing it
It
right now.
absolutely
Thanks for
does.
that, Jeff.
That'd be an amazing shot.
Jeff was who put it on my radar, and I was grabbing it when you started talking
All
about
of
it.
these photos and everything, he needs to start using like campaign ads starting tomorrow.
Oh, I'm sure
Go
there's
out.
somebody already immediately putting stuff together.
Up on
Yeah.
the roof, and if that's true,
They'd be idiots
the
not
Secret
to.
Service has countermeasures to that. So there's a lot of questions
I mean,
to
it's
be
just.
answered right now. I will tell you, it happens in split
I do
seconds.
wish we knew
So 8 rounds from 300 yards.
anything about the shooter right now, but obviously that's probably going to be withheld for several more hours. And
actually striking
it'd
at
be a
least
while.
a portion of the president.
Looks like that
is
Tim
very
Miller there
alarming.
speaking on screen now is talking about a lot of questions with the
Sir, thank you very much for
with the protection
your
and the holes that were obviously
on this
left.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
historic
Like,
evening and a day of tragedy for the family who lost their own loved one at that rally.
It absolutely is.
like that. My main question. I know I had some immediate like first thoughts going on with all this. Like that, obviously the left is going to say this was a false flag, like Trump staged it himself, and all that, which I'm sure we're going to see a lot of in the next few days.
There's a lot of it already. Oh, there it is. Holy moly! Look at
my
that.
God.
Very wrong. By his own account moments ago, he says he knew
So
that he had to get
that
down.
right
Good
there.
catch, Jeff. Thank you.
Unfolding. He heard the shots.
I mean, it
That's
looks
amazing.
good.
Through the moment that you see this.
I say, you can't tell the direction or anything because I kind of wonder if it came from behind him to splash the blood on his face in that direction.
No, the blood on his face is when he was on the ground, because you can see when he went down, he was on his hands and knees, and you can see the blood running down his
Okay, so that was that.
That
That
shot
angle, he
gets
would have
me
been
killed.
facing to his right, and that's why it hit his ear.
Right.
Yeah, so like I was saying a second ago, like the shooter had to be on that side that he was facing. He was facing to his right. So he would have been looking in the general direction of the shooter.
You know what I just thought about too, especially with that shot there. The way Trump, we've all seen his postures and the way he moves when he's talking. He'll just like he did. He turned very far to his right so he could talk to the people stage right and to the people behind him. If he'd been standing normal and looking straight ahead,
that would have been like in his temple.
That bullet would have been straight right in the side of his head, right in his ear.
Probably the temple or somewhere around there. Like,
so if he hadn't turned and was facing the way he was facing, it could have been a lot worse.
Let me get my shoes. I got you, sir. Let me get my shoes, sir. Hold on, your head is bloody. So we gotta move to
I don't know if it was a divine hand interacting here, or if it was just the shooter's bad timing or what, whatever you want to call it. But
embrace the power of and. I beat you to it already.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
We very likely could have had a full-on assassination right there. I mean, this is historic enough, but my goodness.
The chance, man. That audio is going to be pulled too and cleaned up, and it's going to be played over some of these campaign commercials for sure.
went on the fritz.
Laura, why are you in here? Oh wait, now you're only here once. Never mind.
Yeah, our laptop just completely went. All the screens went blank and like rebooted for some reason. I don't know what happened.
That would be the black helicopters are headed towards your house, probably.
Probably so.
Hey, I had to tell Calvin earlier that I already probably am on a list somewhere, so that's not shocking.
If you're not on a list, you're not trying.
Yeah,
according to everything I've been able to read, if you've ever voted for Trump, you're already on a list.
Statement by the U.S. Secret Service.
Well, I was probably on a list way before now, and it actually wasn't through any effort that I actually made. It's just that I'm that kind of person. My search history would get me in a lot of trouble.
At approximately 6:15 p.m.,
I tell you, you don't have to agree with that instantly.
fired
Like
multiple shots toward the stage from an elevated position outside of the rally venue. U.S. Secret Service personnel.
I'm trying to get my
now deceased.
Facebook
U.S. Secret
live
Service
feed
quickly
going.
responded with protective
That was so
measures,
odd.
and
Laptop just
former
dropped down
President
like
Trump is safe. One spectator was killed, 2 spectators
that.
critically
Alabama.
injured.
Okay, there we
This
go.
incident is currently under investigation in the
All
Secret
right.
Yeah,
So it
Service.
looks
I've
like we're back and everybody.
yeah, I've been
Shannon, what
telling
clearly
everybody like
sticks out
Windstream is going
is
to get an earful
that
from me,
line
and
about a
we are not going to pay our final bill, and we're
a
going to find another
suspected
internet
shooter
provider.
firing multiple shots from an elevated position outside
So
of the
they're
rally
saying now
venue,
multiple
which
shots
would
from elevated
synchronize with some
position,
of the
basically summing up
things
what
we've
we
been
know
picking up on
now.
social media about a man dead on top of a roof outside of the
I
rally.
mean, obviously, it's just a better position anyway for any kind of sniper or shooter or something, but it is very, very reminiscent of the JFK shooting, too.
I'm grateful to the Secret
Like, this was,
Service
I
and all
mean,
the other
he
law
was
enforcement officers for their
in a
quick and
building that was
decisive
unsecured and
actions
everything
today.
right there by the
For our
parade route
country.
and
I
whatnot,
love you,
and
Dad.
was
Today,
able to set up
always.
and, like, get his
Jason
position
Chaffetz, quickly to you.
established.
I've got some
And,
more information, but
Right.
go ahead, Jason.
like,
This
it's
is
just,
a
it still
catastrophic
just
failure of the
blows my
United
mind
States
that that
Secret Service.
building
The men and women who
apparently
jumped
had
on
not been
the
secured.
former president, got in between him and a would-be shooter. They're heroes. But if there was a person with a gun within proximity to take down the president
Here
of the
he's talking
United
about
States,
Yeah.
those people have got to be held accountable. They should be fired. There is no reason that a gun should be within close proximity that can shoot a former president of the United States. That's why we have the Secret Service, and they
Yeah,
Yeah, I
absolutely.
agree.
Every single person
failed.
on that guard
Jason,
detail, everybody
Jason, thank you.
involved
Jake
with
Gibson
securing this
reports
rally,
the ID
you're
is not
done.
confirmed.
Like,
Federal
no, you don't
sources,
you don't
enforcement
get the
sources
job
tell us
anymore.
the
Like, you're
shooter's
fired.
identity is still unconfirmed.
Clearly,
and they're working
you
on it, but first
cannot
reports suggest the
secure
shooter was
this
not carrying ID.
area.
So that
Again,
is
like
the
you said, it's
initial
if you tell me
report
somebody
about
had
the potential identity of the
they
shooter.
set up
Shannon,
and
you've
was a
got
mile
Fox News
away
Sunday
and all
tomorrow
this kind of
morning.
stuff,
You will
okay,
be
but
on this story
400
then.
feet,
And thank you for
I
your
can make
excellent
400
work
foot
tonight.
shot.
You too, my friend.
All right, here's Sean.
Yeah, that's barely longer than a football field.
Yeah.
I've done that on iron
And this
sights.
is a Fox News alert.
Yes,
Today,
exactly.
the former president of
Yeah, I
the
mean, the
United
thing is,
States,
there
Donald
is,
J. Trump,
I
was
keep
the
saying
Oh,
it,
can we
but
get
there
anything but
it's
Hannity
not
for Donald
rational. It's
John?
not
One innocent
logical
attendee is now dead.
that
President
that
Trump,
building was
we're
not
told,
secured.
is alive.
Yeah.
It's just not. So that, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm sure there'll
I'll
be
just
some
let the
definite
video play in the background. I don't need to hear him.
Yeah,
Hannity.
Hannity's voice makes me want to punch kittens. I will never forgive him for what he did to California.
but
Hey,
say
Amish, did you see the
I
lady's
used to
message?
love Hannity too, but I don't know what happened to him.
He injected
Well,
himself into the California gubernatorial's race, and when we could have had McClintock, the gold standard of California conservatives, much like Pat Wilson and George Deukmejian, Hannity has fucking Schwarzenegger on his show every 30 minutes. And we get stuck with Schwarzenegger. And now California has a supermajority on the left.
Yeah.
So,
Is that
got
right?
this sent to me from a guy who knows. Right-handed shooter on his right flank, aimed from the top of his triangle. Trigger pull made the shot go left by low and just off by an RCH. Take that one.
Okay, you were slightly garbled, so repeat that one more time.
Okay. Right-handed shooter from his right flank, aimed for the top of his triangle, and the trigger pull made the shot go left and low by an RCH.
I say if we were
Seems pretty
dealing
accurate
probably
to
with a
me.
professional, they might have adjusted for that.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, it sounds weird to say this, but I'm reminded of that line in The Patriot where it was after the son was killed and everything, the younger son, not Gabriel, his character, Heath Ledger. The younger son was killed and everything, and of course he goes kind of nuts, and he gets his two sons that are left and everything, takes them off into the woods, and he's telling them, "Is like, what have I always taught you?" They said, aim small, miss small.
Yeah.
So if you're trained to like aim for a small area, you're going to correct for anything that may affect your shot there. So
Also, don't scrimp on
I'm
that.
not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure this would be a professional, but I mean, somebody that was good enough to make a shot at like what we say, like 400 yards,
400 feet.
400 feet. Yeah. So yeah,
I
not
doubt
even.
it was any kind of professional. It was probably just some radicalized somebody who listened to what was being preached to them and took it to heart.
I said that's my first guess, but I keep going back to the security on this one because that building, there's no logical reason why that building would not have been sealed off and secured.
That's still too conspiracy theory for me right now.
Wait,
I
I do like this though. Sunny Wright said it's possible that some segments of law enforcement failed, and yet the agents near Trump acted bravely and swiftly. It's not all or nothing, and I agree with that.
That's fair.
You know, they jumped in. They got on.
The only
that
time you
stage
see a
like,
complete departmental failure was at U of A.
Yeah. Yeah, somewhere down the line, security kind of broke down on this one, and either somebody got through.
I do know that several times, you know, being a capital city, we almost always have the presidents, former presidents, high-profile senators, all of that kind of thing, you know, attend things here. And I do know that there were issues at times with certain areas, even like the area within where they were going to be, that the Secret Service or private security or whoever needed to secure, that there were private buildings that would not give permission for them to have access, just not. And they would
How
have to
can
try
they
to
get
get
by
orders.
with that though? I mean, it's federal
It
at that
depends.
point. Like,
Well, but there are, I worked in events. There are so many different crazy rules about all of that. And sometimes it means you do have to go through like the city and then the state and then whatever. And all of that takes time. And if that person, they assume, usually they go around and check perimeters and they assume, but sometimes like Obama would come in and we'd get notice 45 minutes before and they'd say, we're going to need access to your building. During South by Southwest, like we did not know. And they came by our building and said, we have to have access at any point. And if we were to refuse and they have to go get the proper document, like it may be not enough time. I'm not saying that happened here. I've been in some situations that were like, oh, weird. And it's like, oh yeah, no, across the street, they said, no, get out of our hair. It's like, what?
but ironically, this kind of goes back to another point that I always make for like different issues. Like bureaucracy is a nightmare. Like anytime
100%.
the government gets involved in something, whether it be like local, state, you know, federal, it doesn't matter. If some kind of government entity gets involved, it's going to be a cluster.
Well, it's not only that, it's the fact that like, especially with the feds, there is an entitlement there and there's an expectation that everyone will just cooperate. And so they don't often go through the actual steps that like other lessers would go through to, you know, to do things because they're just going to bully their way through. And 99.9% of the time they get their way.
The federal government, they're the men in the black suits, like fear us.
People
do
just
whatever
go,
we
oh,
tell
fuck,
you to
okay,
do.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also like, it doesn't seem like this would be an area that would have any issue like that, but who knows? I mean, we just don't know any of that at this point, and it'll be interesting. I mean, I don't think we'll ever truly know. Like my friend who was in chat earlier, Teresa said, she's like, you know, just like the Nashville shooting, just like Vegas, like there'll be elements to this that we will never know. And people will go, well, what the hell happened to that? Where is there any investigation on this? Where are the results? And they're going to go, meh, crickets.
Yeah.
I've
never had encounters with them like that, but I know that, you know, I drive a truck and I've been in routes and close to proximity where the president and vice president both at separate times were in the area. And I don't even mean close. We're miles away, and they was shutting down all traffic. We couldn't advance. We couldn't do anything, get anywhere near them.
Sure.
And that was just them coming through, you know, their parade route or whatever you call it.
And I think roadways, they definitely get total, you know, control and access of. And if like Jeff said in the chat, like, and if the non-secret service, oh, hi, Teresa, she says, I'm still here. If the non-secret service was asked to take care of that, it's a kind of a different story with them going in and trying to bully people on behalf of the supposed people with badges, but they don't have the badges. you might get a different reaction.
Mm.
I would have. I mean, I have been in positions where they've been like, yeah, so we're with so and so, for instance, like Kanye's service detail, and the state troopers are coming to da 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 da. And I'm like, okay, well, when they get here, they can tell me what to do, and until then, you don't get to say shit to me. It happens.
Yeah,
But again, I don't think that would be
I think
the situation here. But you would think that he's having his rallies in places that are pretty much cooperative of all of that. But you never know.
I mean, I think the way that I am now, like, I don't generally like authority, but at the same time, like, somebody comes knocking on my door or something, they've got the proper credentials and whatnot, I'm probably going to be pretty intimidated and be like, okay, I don't know what you need me to do, but like, let's talk.
You need to watch more Lackluster and Audit the Audit then.
It looks like my Aunt Pam has joined us on the X chat. I got a lot of family doing this now. A couple of aunts are all saying they're proud of me, so.
Nice. That's awesome.
I say we are obviously a very Southern family and everything, so there's a lot of that.
A lot of mine too. They just don't usually jump in anymore. They're like, oh yeah, Jen's on with them. Cool.
I say this is a whole new thing for me and for
I know.
Daniel.
Yeah,
both.
it's great. Yeah, I know, it's great. I love it. I love the enthusiasm and the support. That's amazing.
And this is other than Twitchy. Like, I've done some breaking news stuff for Twitchy, like not a lot because it makes me uncomfortable because I get really nervous. But this is probably the first like live breaking news thing that we've ever done. Like, as it's still unfolding and ongoing. So it's odd. It's very weird for me. So
I've not done any news live. Well,
yes, Aunt Pam, we are seeing your comments on X, and well, I did have them pulled up on Facebook, but I turned my Wi-Fi on my phone off, so hopefully it won't interfere with the computer anymore.
Yeah, we can see the X chat here on our screen too.
So yeah, I mean, if anybody's got questions or if y'all want to make a point too, we'll try to read them off and discuss it. And
yeah, don't let us run roughshod over y'all. Y'all got something you want to say? Go right ahead.
Brass has joined in and he's got his dark jokes for us. He said that Trump came close to getting a JFK haircut.
So. Since we're not having to focus so much on the video anymore, I've got the chat up on the screen now too.
Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, like I said, did you see Brass's joke here?
Yeah, I saw it.
Trump came close to getting a JFK haircut. Like, that's very dark, but I like dark humor, so.
Yeah, that doesn't tend to offend here. Not with this crowd, not with this group.
Yeah, no, we're all pretty chill when it comes to what's obviously a joke. Like, if somebody comes in here trying to start something or just being a troll, then it's a different story. But
we tend to be a little macabre.
As Joseph Stalin said, dark humor is like food. Not everybody gets it.
Did somebody say Trump is going to a UFC fight tonight?
Yeah.
Wow. So if Evander
That's been the
Holyfield's there.
report.
If Evander Holyfield shows up, there'll be two guys there with only half a year.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
My husband, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God! Now that's going to go to his head. Yeah. He got the drum thing.
Thank you. I'm here all night. Tipsy waitresses.
Second show's at midnight. You got to be 21 for the second show. It gets a little blue. Remember to tip your servers.
That's right.
A little blue. Have we met this crowd? Just saying.
Yeah, I have no idea who's fighting tonight, but yes, apparently Trump is going to a UFC fight, and he has not postponed that.
I really wish he would go and speak to the people, not just show. I mean, showing up at UFC is cool. That's his style, but I wish he would do a
I bet
quick
you anything
press
after this, whoever's
I bet
in
you his
charge
Secret
of the
Service is
UFC
going to be
fight and
pissed
all
enough that
that,
he's going to be trying to go to that event. So he ain't going to be doing any public speaking for the next 48 hours. I'll be surprised if his detail lets him go to that.
I
was
would
wondering
too, but
if they would let him go to that.
But he's been known to tell him to F off on stuff like that before, so we'll see. They could control him a little more when he was actually president versus just being a a presumptive
So
nominee.
they'll be scrambling to secure that location now for sure. But
I
mean, they would have to do that anyway. But
I'll honestly be surprised if he goes to it. I mean,
I will too. I saw some people bringing up the time, because he had to go get checked out. Obviously, they had to secure and all this stuff, so he couldn't leave like in the timely manner that maybe he had planned to. And what the flight time is, and I'm like, yeah, but that's a commercial flight time. That's not necessarily his private flight time. So,
right.
And also remember this: he doesn't have to. If they allow it, he doesn't have to be there at the start. He could make a grand entrance halfway through if that's what they want. I mean, it could be something ridiculous like that. Ill-advised, most likely, as far as security goes, but for for hyping up the troops, it sure would. Man, it would be epic.
Well, it is Trump. We've seen the way he acts, and by gosh, he's going to do it if he can. So I don't know. I'm torn on it too. The security detail would say absolutely not, but Trump's going to say yes.
If I were betting on Trump, I would say he's going to be at that UFC fight at some point during the night.
Yeah, but I'd like to see him show up there with the blood on the shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, change back into his bloody clothes and everything and be there.
Right.
Dang right. You dang right.
I mean, I'm sorry. Like I keep saying, they handed this election to him with this. I put in the green room chat something that Daniel found that's allegedly a photo of the shooter, on the ground.
It's a photo of the shooter on the rooftop.
So if Rick does decide to show that, because I mean that's a producer call there, but if he does decide to show it, definitely if you're watching, viewer discretion is advised, because it ain't really gory or anything, but if it is real, yes, it is a dead body. So obviously, people.
That's another angle of them where they're getting him. So yeah.
Yeah, they're pulling him off the roof in that one. I mean, kind of a guy of slight build that it looks like, with dark hair, but you can't really make out anything else. So. But there are allegedly photos of the Secret Service and security and everything on the roof with the shooter's body.
Yeah,
come on, Brass. Nobody needed to.
There's a button.
The memes were already coming out.
Yeah, it's the same one with the. It's the same one with the same picture of the shooter on that rooftop, and now it's just got the police and the military people up there. And somebody else I saw earlier had said that there's a report that it could be a Chinese
national,
Chinese national. Yeah,
I think that was Raptor that time.
But I'm not sure.
You got a question mark there. We have no idea, so we're not going to sit here and speculate that it was a Chinese person or whatever ethnicity.
But I'm over here scrolling through all the news sources I can find, and there's so much going on right now with what's been reported.
Plus, all the memes have already started, so those are probably going to be pretty epic now.
Yeah, people don't miss a second online making those memes. And of course, Babylon B's already did too. So
I bet theirs is good.
I'll find that in a minute.
But yeah, I mean, we have no information on the shooter as far as those of us in the chat. I don't think anybody else has released any information or anything. So
just to make sure, for things like that, if you want me to show them, just drop them in the private chat because it'll be easier for me to pull them up. If you can see
I may be able to copy the link. Anyway. Yeah. I may be able to pull the link for you if you want to show
right
it.
Now I'm pulling from 16 different places. So anything you guys want to show, if you just drop it there, it'll pop right up for me.
I mean, since the picture that Daniel had found does show some blood and everything, that's a producer call if you want to include it.
We already had it on the screen.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't know if I was scrolling through Twitter on the on my computer if it would show up.
Yeah, when y'all get a chance to start scrolling, check the Babylon Bee. They got some amazing headlines right now too.
Well, what are some of them?
They got one right here where it's got the picture of Trump holding a hand up. You know, the one that we say should be his campaign
photo. Yeah.
It says from the Babylon Bee, it says that CNN is reporting that clumsy Trump hits his head on a bullet. So that's not far from the truth of what CNN was putting down. But yeah, the memes, the fun stuff is just full everywhere, and of course, the left side of Twitter or X is still just disgusting as you would expect it to be. I can't believe some of the stuff. I shouldn't be surprised, but my goodness,
They always find a way to surprise us, though. Like, I mean, their depravity seems to know no bounds whatsoever.
That was muted still. Hang on.
Man, it's just
Sorry
ridiculous
about
what the left.
Oh, I thought this guy was that the one on the screen. I thought
Shooting
he was.
the,
I thought he was that same guy that was shooting the bird and everything. I would say they need to interview him, but it would probably just be like a steady bleep.
Yeah. You can read his lip. Who was they actually talking to at that point? Was they protesters there or something already?
No, those were just some more of the people.
Yes, but who were they yelling at?
The media, the cameras.
So Amish found us a video. I'm about to play that.
Let's see, here we go.
So there you saw one of the counter snipers trying to figure out what the hell just happened.
Yeah, you see that sniper on the roof right there.
Looking down scope to see what he can see. And the whole, of course, that's going to be hectic and just a crazy charged situation. It would be hard to zero in that quickly to get a good shot off, But the dude the shooter on the roof should never have been there to begin with.
Yeah.
I don't understand how he stayed up there so long.
That's what I still go back to. I've got a tweet right here from Ivanka Trump. Says, thank you for your love and prayers for my father and for the other victims of today's senseless violence in Butler, Pennsylvania. I'm grateful to the Secret Service and all the other law enforcement officers for their quick and decisive actions today. I continue to pray for our country. I love you, Dad, today and always. And that's from Ivanka Trump, his daughter. So.
That's the.
Oh, this one's funny. Dana Lash lighting into somebody. Somebody, a Cyber Frontier on X, said it looks very staged, sounded like a BB gun.
Mm.
Nobody in the crowd is running or panicking. Nobody in that crowd heard an actual gun. I don't trust it. I don't trust him. Dana Lash said, tell me you don't know what a BB gun sounds like without telling me you don't know what a BB gun sounds like. She said, holy wow. Like, no, that was... I've grown up with BB guns. The Tiny Tyrant got a BB gun when she was, 4 or 5?
Yeah.
That's not a BB gun that we heard.
No.
Like, not even kind of close.
That's just more,
we just heard it. That's nowhere near the sound of a BB gun.
Yeah.
That's just more the left trying to
deflect and
deny what's going on.
Take away from what the severity of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got people saying they got the media out of there ASAP.
Well, they out of the place. You talking about?
Just out of the.
Well, they had to clear everything. They controlled clearing so they could go in and finish the investigation properly. So
the crowd was left in there. I think the media was able to be cleared sooner, just because there are credentials there and passes and whatnot. So
they had to let the crowd out as they investigated it too. I mean, they had to move them out of that area into a different area.
Yeah, Rex, going to Rex's comment here in the chat, like the BB gun that I had growing up was one of those spring-loaded ones.
Mm-hmm.
So like you had the spring noise whenever you fired it. So yeah, that's very, very different than the gunshots. Like when my dad was firing off one of his guns, or even after I grew up when we shoot with ours, like very, very different sound. Even the Daisy BB gun that the Tiny Tyrant has, like it's not a spring-loaded one, but it's just like a click.
Yeah.
I mean,
a snap more than anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how the left.
Yeah.
I don't know how they can rationalize this to themselves. That's such a weird mentality, I guess, for me to be able to see something like this. I mean, it's all laid out right there on video in front of your face, and you still deny it. You still equivocate on it. You still. I don't know. It's very bizarre to me.
Just scrolling through a lot of the feeds and stuff again, you can see a lot of the people, a lot of the higher, bigger accounts are starting to say the same things we've been saying too about how did they fail.
Yeah.
On this, seeing this shooter.
I say, where was the lapse? How did this happen?
Yeah, I'm seeing stuff where they're talking about negligence or something much, much worse. You know, talking about the Secret Service was in charge.
I'm hoping it was something as simple as negligence. Like they just overlooked something. Somehow this like slid through the cracks. I'm hoping for that because the implications of anything else are way too much.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because I mean that means this was. Otherwise, it means it was an inside job.
Yep. Yeah, you got two options. You know.
Yeah, it's just. Yeah, we got to have answers on how this happened. Like, how did this person manage to get into that building so close to the rally site? I mean, we saw the picture that Orty sent us and everything of the diagram, like where it was.
Mm-hmm.
Even with like limited of the security detail, the Secret Service and everything, even then, that's a building that should have been cleared and restricted.
Well, I'm sure they cleared it, but they didn't protect it for some reason. They was able to gain access.
Yeah, there's a picture floating around that looks like a ladder leaned up against the building on the backside that could have been the access.
Yeah,
from that style building, they would very likely not be any access from inside the building onto the roof for that style of building. So probably more likely would have to either be a ladder he brought, or they could be a ladder that was already attached to the building, you know, for maintenance or whatever. But
I say we're just, left around the building somewhere. I mean,
yeah, I would imagine that the building was cleared at one point and then just forgotten about, just walked away from.
Like, okay, we secured this building. That's it. Like, let's walk away. So yeah, I mean, I'm like the Amlin Road. Like, yeah, I'm hoping for negligence. Like, sincerely hoping, because the implications otherwise are enormous.
I just got a gut feeling that it is negligence.
Yeah, Raptor, we actually mentioned that before, that there were witnesses that were pointing in that direction of the shooter beforehand.
Well, and there's now a video of one of the detail snipers up that is pointed in that direction that fires immediately. So, and it's hard to tell from the video and with the sound travel, how that works, but it almost looks like, he either fired right as, or, just pretty much immediately after the shot rang out. So they, at some point, got a train on him. So I don't know, but you can see that in the video. I mean, he fires as soon as you see Trump reach up to his ear, and he's already got a shot off.
Yeah, I mean, you hear more than one gunshot in the videos and everything too. So the first one probably was the shooter himself, and second one probably came from the sniper trying to take him out.
Yeah, there was even reports that people were saying afterwards that it sounded like two different gunshots. It sound, you could tell the difference in the caliber difference.
I say a rifle has more.
There's an actual video
versus,
of it.
Yeah.
You look at it like a 22 versus probably a 6.5 or something.
Yeah.
You're going to have a difference.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I keep going back to that, like. But we've got Rooster here saying realistically, you can only check so much ground and so many buildings. You can only have so many people to stand around in places.
Right.
Like, yeah, I mean, and we talked about his security detail already being fairly limited because, like, he's not even the nominee yet. So he's got just the bare bones amount of, like, Secret Service with him.
Yeah, it's not the same. Yeah.
The Babylon Bee just released,
oh my God.
just posted that the Babylon Bee again just posted that Trump indicted for inciting an assassination attempt. Boy, they're gold. I love Babylon.
Oh my
They
God.
are.
And you know,
They're so good.
The left is going to try to figure out a way to do that. I mean, they've indicted him for everything else they can come up with, so why not this too?
Hey guys, I got something I'm going to be putting on screen in a second. So,
okay. It looks like they're. Oh, there he goes. He's getting it up down. We got sound.
I think he's got to turn up the volume real quick.
So what's that name? There it goes. I think Dan Bongino.
Bongino.
I'm not getting any sound off of it.
Yeah, me either.
So it's not just us then. So okay.
Yeah, so apparently Rick's got the sound for this.
Yeah, Rex is right though. He's like, this is different. Event security is different from personal protection, and it is. It's very, very different and much more involved. And
that was weird. The audio was playing for me, but I guess for some reason it wasn't playing through for you guys.
And by the way, it is the biggest. Even with a location that I just had 3 legitimate doors, just 3 places where people could come in and out of the building. There were always breaches, even when I had troopers there. Like it was infuriating how it could happen. And I'm talking for stupid stuff, like just a fan trying to get in to see Kid Cudi, not, something legitimate being wrong or happening, or people not getting through a metal detector or sneaking in pot after they'd already been searched, just stupid stuff. But it's always infuriating how hard it was for even like a very small location to keep it completely secure, even with the help of law enforcement.
Right. And Brass is saying the Democrats seem to be pro-gun now. Has anybody checked on David Hogg yet? Look him up, babe.
How do you send that? I don't want to look up David Hogg. I'm afraid it may put it in my.
I was about to
put
say,
him in your algorithm.
Algorithm. Thank you. I don't know how to send this, but
Colin Rugg.
Colin Rugg just posted on X that. Well, I say just posted. It was probably about 40 minutes ago. UFC fighter Evan Elder gives a shout out to Donald Trump after the assassination attempt at the rally. Elder made the comments after getting a second round win in Denver. I don't care. Here's his comments. Says, "Hey, I heard they just tried to whack my boy Trump. I'm glad the man's okay. Long live Trump. Let's go, baby. Trump 2024.
Nice.
So, the UFC, they would absolutely blow the roof off that place if Trump did show up tonight.
I'm betting that he will show up at some point. But yeah, that would be absolutely epic. I mean, for the UFC too. Like,
I don't keep up and watch UFC anymore, keep up with it all, but I may tune it in tonight to see if he actually shows up. I couldn't name you not one fighter in the UFC anymore.
Let me see if I can pull up David Hogg, because my algorithm, because of Twitchy, is already set for people like this. So
Yeah, I quit
I
watching.
just don't want to turn my internet, my Wi-Fi back on my phone.
Mine's been on. I hadn't watched UFC or anything like that since like Dan DeBeast Severin and Tank Abbott. Those
I
boys.
haven't watched since like Chuck Liddell.
Look, when Dan Severin was fighting, they used to fight 5 or 6 rounds a night to get to the end, to the main event.
Oh, okay.
They would fight their way to the main event. That's when those boys were monsters.
David Hogg did put out a tweet 2 hours ago. No form of, well, he says no form up political violence, but David Hogg is like the typo king. So I'll kind of clean it up as I read it. No form of political violence is acceptable. I'm wishing President Trump a speedy recovery and hope that members of his detail and crowd are okay. So that's actually pretty solid from David. Like, I'll give him that one. Like, credit where credit's due.
Did they all get the same one to put out though? Because almost all of them sound identical.
You know they do.
Let me see that.
I wouldn't be surprised if we come Monday or Tuesday we find out that everyone had that same email sent out like this today at like 2:00 this afternoon. Y'all get ready to have this sent out. You know.
Let's see.
By the way,
Harry
so
Sisson.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say McGill's on Twitter said both of Biden's vice presidents are now known for taking loads to the face.
Okay.
My
that
God.
deserves one of these again.
Oh man.
Oh yeah. That makes me happy.
But yeah, I was having to scroll through Harry Sisson's feed and everything because he's obviously retweeting like Barack Obama and all that. But even he said a couple hours ago, political violence is never okay under any circumstances. The shooting at Trump's rally is absolutely unacceptable. Let's beat Trump at the ballot box, not any other way. Insane stuff.
You notice every one of them say political violence.
Uh-huh.
They all start exactly the same.
Yeah, they all got their memo.
Again, though, these are people that are perfectly fine with using the kind of rhetoric that completely, polarizes and angers people to the point of thinking that they need to resort to violence to literally save democracy from Hitler and his ilk. That creates these situations. And then when it happens, they go, oh. The same thing they accused Trump of with January 6th.
County, you know this area. Did you ever think something like this would happen here?
Yeah,
So Brian Stetler
never.
asking this question
this
is
shows you
kind
how
of
much hate
ridiculous.
and hostility is in our world today.
Now he's got
this
sound
is not a good thing. We need to all come together as a human race.
Well, it's supposed to be more than that.
We need
but
to
it ain't
help each
working
other
very
out.
well. Hang on.
How is this
Never
happening
mind.
in our country today?
I think something.
And
that
why
might work
is
a
it
little better.
happening? Why? And Tracy, you were telling me earlier.
So anyway,
you and
it's
Tyler,
not showing up very clearly, so I'll just read it. How is this happening in our country today, and why? Why is it happening? That was from Brian Stetler an hour ago.
Absolutely.
Gee, I
Never.
wonder, Brian.
This shows you how much hate and
Brian
hostility
Stelter
is
posted
in
that an
our
hour
world
ago.
today.
38-year-old
This is not a good thing. We need to all come
I
together.
swear to God, I do not believe that man is my age. Like, you cannot convince me of that.
1985, baby.
I swear. The potato-looking guy, just a year older than me. Like, I just turned 37, and he's 38.
This has been one of my shticks on Twitter for like 5 years. Every time we do something, I'd be like, he's 35, he's 36, and it always goes crazy because people are like, wait, what? And they're like, that can't be right. And they're like, they pull up his bio and they're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Brass, we may have to remove good from your handle if you keep postulating things like that, sir.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it bears repeating that the left right now is like, oh my God, how could stuff like this happen? You have promoted this man as the second coming of Hitler since he started in like 2014, 2015. You have literally said that everything the man does is going to like end the world. Is it any freaking wonder now that somebody decided to take those words seriously and act on them? No, I'm not going to sit here and say that, like, you know, a Democrat is responsible for the acts of a crazy person, because I mean, it's a crazy person. Like, their logic is not sound, their thinking is not clear, but you have to still be able to take responsibility for what you said that crazy person took seriously. There's no way around that.
Mm-mm.
Like, if they want us to take seriously the quote unquote rhetoric on our side that apparently like wants to harm women and minorities and trans people and all this kind of stuff, like, okay, like, we will, if somebody acts on something that we say, like, we'll say, yeah, you know, our words probably did inspire them, yes, and we should probably rethink how we discuss these issues. But at the same time, no, you're not responsible for that act. But you do have to take responsibility for at least having the influence. And they never will.
No, they spent, I almost said months, they've spent years calling for violence against the right. And especially since Trump took office, it escalated to unprecedented amounts.
Yeah.
Constantly talking about calling him Hitler. Even Biden himself said we need to put Trump in our crosshairs.
Yeah.
I mean,
in the bullseye.
Yeah. Quite literally calling. Now, they may just stop short of saying the words, but they're calling for this. What happened tonight, they had been calling for this.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of people, a lot of sitting Democrats that, yes, probably did actually want this to happen. And I bet that they are wishing, like, I mean, we saw, what was it, the Woodrow or whatever his name was up on the screen a minute ago, saying like sympathy for the devil. Like, you're mad that people like are saying that this shouldn't have happened to Trump. Like,
it's well, the political ones won't come out and
they
be
can't,
happy
because
about
it would be career
But
suicide.
you can look at their followers, and especially those disgusting people on X and other places. Those are the ones that are showing, that's making all the noise that's showing. Now, I'm sure there are Democrats out there that would condone this and are horrified that it happened, and that's fine. I think there's probably a lot of
one country. And I think President Trump even demonstrated that, when he was being escorted out by Secret Service.
And laughed at and shared online, you wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know that they were.
Okay, to go back to conspiracy theories, can I ask a question?
No.
I'm going to ask it anyway. Did Hillary Clinton just hire a bad shooter?
I don't think the Hillary. Well, I don't know.
Because, they've had people like connected to Hillary Clinton that was like shot twice in the back of the head and they ruled it a suicide. So did she just hire like a bad shooter this time, that they were going to say like, oh, Trump commits suicide on stage?
I think Hillary would be more out to take out some of the Democrats that's in her way more than she would Trump.
Hey, just to put things into perspective, the current head of USSS, her previous job was the head of security at PepsiCo.
Oh, nice. Now that's the same kind of job. I mean,
yeah, I mean that's just a lateral move.
Exactly.
Damn.
Right. Exactly.
I mean,
I've worked with PepsiCo on events and had their security, so that's funny.
Oh dang!
I mean, it's not like Coke where they're protecting the secret formula. It's Pepsi.
Right. Yeah, the last head security at Coke is the one who come up with that new Coke, and they got rid of him quick.
Yeah.
So,
the theory is that they just did that so that way they could mask the conversion to high fructose corn syrup from real sugar.
I think you're right, because that's about the time it happened. In all seriousness, though, Coke when it had the real sugar in it's the best Coke there is. Now Dan Bongino, he is saying and posted on his X account that the head of the Secret Service, you just mentioned her name, I can't remember what it is.
Or, no.
Just call her Pepsi.
Yeah.
Just call her Pepsi.
He said that he can prove that it was requested from Trump's people several times to up his Secret Service protection over the past, over the past year probably. When he started announcing when he knew that he was going to run again, and every time that it had been turned down and would not do it.
See, I swear, like, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. You know me; I have no interest in conspiracy theories. But there's a lot that I could say about all this is going to come off very conspiracy theory. And I don't think that maybe I'm entirely wrong either.
I'd like to point out how much this event has taken off the pressure of the free Orty hashtag. Almost as if it's conspiracy.
See, that's what happened.
Elon ordered the hit to crush your free Orty hashtag.
That's
absolutely. Like Orty is just too dangerous to be on X.
I mean, they do everything to keep the Amish off this platform.
They really do.
Well, they will stop you at no cost. Like, they will spare nothing. Now they're showing, see on the screen, the graph of the building and the...
Yeah, where the layout where the building was and everything.
Per Collins from Georgia, the Republican District Attorney in Butler County, PA, should immediately file charges against Joseph R. Biden for inciting an assassination.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, I could get behind that.
Words have consequences.
That's what they always tell us, so let them eat their own words. Yeah, Rooster, I'm actually afraid to ask that question. What won't crazed leftists do at this point? Because I'm pretty sure there's not a whole lot left. So, like, I actually do kind of worry about what is going to happen next. I mean, my uncle was, Uncle Wayne was telling my mom earlier about, they're going to start a civil war. And I think we're actually closer to that now than we were ever before.
Well, I knew if Trump wins in November that the riots we had through his first presidency was going to be escalated, going to be even worse. So now after this, I'm curious to see what happens,
They're going to burn the country to the ground, aren't they?
One or two things is going to get way worse. They're actually going to calm down because some of the people that are in it just for the excitement is going to step back and go like, holy crap, this is real, and fade back.
Yeah.
But then
I want to say something for just a second because I'm tired of seeing shit like this. This is from Adam Schiff 2 hours ago. Horrified by this apparent assassination attempt, there's no place for political violence in our democracy, absolutely none. Grateful for the swift response by law enforcement and Secret Service, wishing President Trump a swift recovery. You have been begging for someone to do this for 8 years. Shut your pie hole.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so
so one of the worst ones.
So JD Vance said today is not just some isolated incident. The central premise of the Biden campaign is that President Donald Trump is an authoritarian fascist who must be stopped at all costs. That rhetoric led directly to President Trump's attempted assassination. So Adam Parkhomenko, who is a Dem strategist, he is a former DNC national field director, a Hillary advisor. He says, every Democrat in my feed is condemning political violence, and every Republican is trying to make it worse. I'm like, seriously? So I said, a former Republican president and current candidate survived an assassination attempt. But the real problem is Republicans being outraged, of course. I think we're pouncing again, y'all. The right is pouncing.
I say, is it time to pounce, or
are we pouncing?
Are we just like...
I thought we were seizing this time. Are we seizing or pouncing? I didn't get my memo.
Seizing, pouncing, like...
this time. I think we're pouncing this time.
I think this one warrants a pounce, yeah. If ever there was a time to pounce, it's an assassination attempt. I think we're good there. Like, I tell people all the time on X that I'm not a Republican just because Republicans irritate me just being so spineless. But at this point, you know what? I'm just going to embrace it. Yes, I'm a Republican because the rest of y'all have absolutely nothing to offer me.
Well,
and when the hell did Adam Kinzinger start making sense? So he's quote tweeting some idiot I've never heard of before, and this is what he quote tweeted: "Wouldn't be shocked if the Trump assassination attempt was staged and his shooter was a plant. They missed and grazed him enough to get him some sympathy just before the RNC, so he will have something to talk about endlessly and blame Democrats who checks notes are anti-gun. Adam Kinzinger's quote, "Let's dissect this. So Trump was shot in the ear on purpose by his supporter. Wow, what an amazing shot. The best Green Beret sniper I know would be unable to do that." And Trump then agreed to let said shooter shoot him so close to the head, and Secret Service was cool with it too. Others are also dead too. How about everybody take a couple of Mississippis before questioning obvious facts? Did CERN fire up right around the same time Trump got shot? Because what the hell am I reading? Adam
I
Kinzinger
said
is
that
making
does not sound like Kinzinger, or however you say his name. Like, it just doesn't sound like him.
I'm so confused.
You know, even an up-jumped gas station attendant is right once in a while.
Yeah, that's true.
Good point.
And for that, he blocked me.
That's almost word for word what we said before we come on air about it.
I said that's exactly what I said was, they're going to start saying that Trump staged this entire thing, that it was a false flag operation and all that. And like, you went all logical on me, but
of course I did.
I was like, there are going to be factions to the left saying that this was all staged, that they had a sharpshooter that placed the shot exactly, that, all this happened and Trump did this specifically for his campaign.
And we saw that. Now, the big questions that loom, is this just a lone gunman? A sicko with a plan?
We deal with the left day in and day out.
Or is this part of an organized effort, and if so, are there continuing threats? Now, we have an interview that News Nation got with another witness named Easton Smith, who also identified
I can hear this.
That's
a curious person, a suspicious
when
person.
I have it set up so everybody should be able to hear it, y'all can't hear it.
The
But when I have
context
it
of what we
on
already
quiet,
know.
y'all can hear it. What the hell is going on?
Yeah. Probably a minute or two before the
Across the
shooting,
street.
saw a guy,
So weird.
gray shirt, climbing up the metal roof on the building right beside us, and didn't know what he was doing, trying to alert cops and police that there was
confusing everybody since it's being stop sharing for now.
Yeah.
I said Brass actually kind of makes a good point. He said, "I hope there isn't a copycat shooter." Look, you got it. Copycats exist.
No, I'm talking about Brass making a good point.
Oh,
I was going to say the same thing. So
good jokes, but yeah, let's hope and pray and cross our fingers, do whatever you got to do, but let's try not to make this worse than it already is.
A copycat shooter. I mean,
in retaliation
for Biden. Yeah, I get it, but I think the Secret Service on all counts are going to be so tight right now.
Oh yeah, for the foreseeable
here's the
future.
Thing, they may not be any outdoor rallies held again.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because you can control indoor much better than you can outdoor.
Yeah,
that might shut down outdoor rallies for a while.
That's very true. And it's a logical response when you think about it. You're trying.
Let's all remember that it was Kennedy who insisted on the convertible, so that way he could wave to the supporters as he drove by.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and everybody's seen the Zapruder film, or Zapruder, however you pronounce that name, which is rough to watch. You're watching a dude die right in front of you.
We almost saw that tonight.
Yeah,
and Joaquin is right here. Wouldn't want to see this happen to Biden either. It's unacceptable. No. This is not a either or situation. It's nobody ever should be subjected to this. There's no room for it.
We would be doing this show this way, this episode and everything, if it had happened to Biden too. No matter what, because
100%.
It's not an either or for us. This is a huge deal. This is not something that should be happening, that should be allowed to happen, that should be condoned happening.
And it should outrage every single American, no matter who you vote for.
Yeah, if it was Biden on that stage and even his ear got clipped or something, we would still have been saying, okay, we're going to change our show tonight to talk about this, to cover this, because it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's no bias here. Like, I mean, y'all know us. We don't really like Trump as a person, but his policy positions are definitely preferable.
Yeah. I told the Tiny Tyrant earlier that she will be reading about this in history books.
I mean, if not in her history books, then by the time she has kids.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, it's a big moment, and I actually like, because she hates it when, like, I get going on politics, and y'all know me, I do that a lot. But she absolutely hates it. She'll just start rolling her eyes and, like, tuning me out immediately. But this one, she actually sat and, asked us questions and talked to us about it and watched some of the news coverage.
She was sharing videos and stuff with us.
So, I mean, that's a big deal for especially a teenage girl that has no interest in politics whatsoever. So, but I do think that more kids should be like that. They should be paying attention, because this is the stuff that they're going to inherit one day. So,
well, and it's understandable that people of a younger age, like that are teenagers, even my son was like with us as this was going down, and he's 10, and we were explaining to him and talking to him about it, and how unprecedented this is, how awful it is. And by unprecedented, I mean that there's only been 10 shots at a president ever, but which is kind of a lot. But over the course of our history and the way how crazy people are, you almost expect it more with how volatile people are with their politics. But it's understandable that they wouldn't be super interested in politics, but I think they're all at least somewhat, if they've got half a brain, when something like this happens, it's historic, and that's obviously scary. It's, something that kind of shocks and awes everybody. I think they all have at least a raising of their interest in it, going, wait, what? The former president, or the president, or even if it's a senator or something, it's like it causes pretty much everyone to turn their head and listen for a little bit, even if they don't actually want to get bogged down with the nitty-gritty of politics. This really shouldn't be political at all.
Yeah, I mean, you'll sit up and take notice no matter what. I mean, because yes, it is a huge deal. But I mean, I remember being 14, 15 years old. I've kind of vaguely remember the Clinton-Dole election because I was a kid then, but I mean, I was little, so I didn't pay attention to it.
Me too.
My mom and dad had Dole buttons because, they were all in for him. But, like, really the only elections I started paying attention to was around 2008, which I was 21 about then, because she was born in 2009, and I was 22 when she was born, so yeah. So about 2008 with Obama, that's when I really started paying attention to politics, because I'm like, okay, holy crap, everything that's been happening is a result of these choices that these people are making for the rest of us. So, it's important to pay attention. But back then, I don't think the media was quite as bad as they are now. So,
I remember when my parents was talking about Reagan getting shot. I was really, really young, but I do remember them being such a big news event, and they was trying to explain to my older cousins what was going on. And I remember that just a feeling of anxiety that I could tell was going on with the family, but I don't remember.
Do you remember what year that was? Because Reagan was president in 87 when I was born.
Reagan was shot 81 or 2.
I was.
So I want to say it was 81 or 82, because I was in 7th grade. That I had actually left campus for lunch and came back to campus and was the one who reported to the class upon my return that had happened.
Okay, so that was before I was born then.
Yeah, one of my favorite videos is when Reagan's giving that speech and the balloon pops.
Oh, yes.
He says, "You missed me."
Yeah, that is amazing.
And when he was shot, when he was, he told Nancy, "Sorry, I forgot to duck."
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, to have a sense of humor about stuff like that, like, I swear, I wish we had men like that again.
Well,
like
Trump,
in politics, anyway.
Trump's going to have some one-liners like that too. When
I hope so.
Gets in front of the camera.
That'll be great. I don't think they'll be like as like quippy necessarily or clever.
There ain't nobody that's going to be as clever and quippy as Reagan.
I know he was good. Again. I had a video pop up on my Facebook memories and everything about him dealing with protesters. That is just amazing.
I still get all teary eyed when I hear his speeches and stuff. You know?
Yeah.
That's when, like I said, for my age, he's the first politician I remember.
Yeah.
And I remember that dude, you could just look at him and tell that he was something, you know.
Yeah, but see, you're a dirty old man, and I have no memories of the man who was president when I was born.
Yeah, I know.
Because wasn't Clinton elected in like 91 or something? 90 or 91? I don't know. Because I was little when Clinton got elected. But yeah, I mean, as y'all know, I just had my birthday on Thursday, so I'm only 37. So Daniel's 10 years older, and I call him a dirty old man.
Yeah, well, we're all older than Daniel. Well, except for Jen. So
I was about to say, hold your horses.
I said, do not set her off. Like, do not insult a woman's age.
I'm much closer to Laura.
Because keep in mind, I can tell her how to clean bloodstains out of any fabric. So
yeah. Bill Clinton was,
she's hundreds of miles away from me. Go right ahead.
Yes, but I am way too close to you for comfort too often.
Yeah, see, that's just it. Like, we can travel. Like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Well, my grandma lives not terribly far from Rick. It's an easy drive, and I go up there. I'm going up there next weekend, actually.
See, I tell Daniel all the time, though, if I disappear for a day or two, if anybody asks you, I've been with you the entire time. Like, if you know what's good for you, you will say that I never left.
Yeah, we got our alibis situated.
Yeah, they're locked in.
Well, we're married, so we can't be forced to
testify
against each other, right?
But I say you can't be forced to. Like, you can't be subpoenaed to do it. You can choose to. Like, you can choose to turn witness against me, or I can turn witness against you.
That's been awful. But
like,
deal.
It can't. It's not. Yeah, it's gonna have to be a good deal, complete with like witness protection and everything. Because I swear to God, I'll find you. Everybody got all quiet with that, but I will find you.
Views expressed currently are those of the hosts of Talk Murder to Me and not reflected by KLRNRadio management.
I say, go ahead and put out that disclaimer real quick. Like, no, whatever Laura's talking about, we don't condone this or necessarily support it. So,
you know, it's not just Friday, but every day is shut the fuck up day when it comes to talking about alibis.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't even care what it is. Like, I could not talk to Daniel for like 3 days. If cops show up at my door and I still hadn't talked to him, where's your husband? In the shower. Mm-hmm. Like, I'll let you know when he comes out. He'll be in there for a while.
On the shut the fuck up note, Polymath said, God grant me the serenity to shut the fuck up, the courage to shut the fuck up, and wisdom to know when to shut the fuck up.
Amen. Amen. And I wish more people knew that too, because I swear some of the true crime stuff, like, especially when they get to like, apparently a lot of these people don't know that there are cameras in the interview room that record audio and everything. There was one girl, I can't even remember the case now, but this girl, like, in front of the cops is doing everything right. You know, she's crying, she's squalling, she's shaking, like she seems genuinely upset. They leave the room and everything turns off, like in the blink of an eye. And this girl starts doing like ballet moves in there and talking to herself about how she's going to get away with it. And I'm like, you freaking idiot. There are cameras in there. They are watching you when the cops are not in there. Like, it's recording everything.
I think smartphones and your smart TVs and everything else is recording you too. So.
If I say our light's been on our camera, even though the camera's not on. So, but yeah, our phones and everything. That's why when we talk about stuff, and everybody's experienced this, when you mention something out loud and you don't even search for it, suddenly that stuff you start getting ads for, because your microphone and everything is still on your TV, on your phone, any other kind of smart device that you have. It's always listening. So yeah, these are like rookie mistakes. Like if I'm ever in an interview
Man, look
room,
at all the security
I'm
outside
not
of Trump
saying
Tower right now.
a word. Oh yeah, I'm
Look
seeing
at
the
all the
video
security
now.
outside of Trump Tower right now.
But say he has more, and that's probably private security too. A lot of it.
That actually looks like NYPD.
A preparation of
That's a-
just in case something was to happen there, because Trump's not at the. He's
That's
not
a-
in the New. Did he go back to the Trump Tower in New York? Do we know that? Or
No, we don't know, but
They're that quick,
It's-
but I mean, he may
That's
have.
there's a dude in a suit right here. It looks like
they protest out there often, though, so it's the
so
thing to do for
there's
sure.
probably an abundance of
I say
caution.
they've got a dog out there and everything, so probably sniffing explosives, anything else. Now suddenly they get concerned about security.
Yeah.
I say we probably have no idea where he is. Do we even know if he's left the hospital yet, or?
I haven't heard any. I was just about to ask.
Was that he had left. Last report I
I
saw was that he had
assume
left.
they're not going to release his schedule. Like, oh yeah, he's released from the hospital and going to X, Y, or Z. Like, obviously they're not going to put that out.
Right. Yeah, it says
Last report I saw is
Butler.
that he's safe and been released from the hospital, but.
Yeah, it says Butler,
Pennsylvania
to Trump Tower via plane is about an hour and a half flight. And that would include the airport to airport, then the car ride back. So
I think Rick was just saying it has been reported that he has been released from the hospital, but just no information on where he was going after that. I mean, they're probably going to take him to a secure location and not Trump Tower or something.
yeah, that's what I was wondering.
That just seems to make the most logical sense right now.
Yeah, but it's Trump too. You have to question logic sometimes when it comes to him.
Oh, I'm sure he wants to do things his own way, but he may be like prohibited from actually doing it.
Right.
Like I said, they might, if they're working now to secure the UFC building, wherever that's happening, he might be able to show up there. But if they can't get it secured, then no, he's not going to be allowed to show up.
Mm.
Like they'll just physically stop him from going. Okay, on the screen, that's his Truth Social posted that I read off earlier.
Yeah, I haven't seen much new coming from them yet.
Yeah, as of right now, we're probably not going to have a lot of information right now because this has been it's ongoing, but it's also like the thread is done, everything's like cleared out, so they're going to be investigating now.
Yeah,
should be.
I figure for the rest of the night, it's going to be a lot of discussion and speculation. Honestly,
yeah, which is basically all we've been doing, but
that's all we have.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, hopefully nothing's going to be like hidden from the public and everything for whatever reason. There's a lot of news outlets that may not report it or may not report it accurately. And I say may not very generously because a lot of them probably will not report it and will not report it accurately if they do report it.
Right.
So, like, it's just everything. I've always said this too. Everything is stupid and it's just going to get stupider. And I've been right every year so far. It has always gotten stupider.
Yeah.
I swear, like, okay, my friend John was talking about in the Facebook chat earlier when we first started, Jesus, just go ahead and come back. That's my prayer too. Like, God, we're done here. Like, we really can't mess this up any further. I mean, we could if we tried, but we're just done here. So
it's going to get so much worse, though.
Oh yeah, it's going to get worse. That's just if we're going into more the religious aspect of that end of it. Yeah, it's going to get worse. But everything is dumb, and people are dumb. And I'm actually kind of glad for it because with Twitchy, at least that's how I make money.
Mm-hmm.
Because people are dumb.
Same. Oh wait.
Yeah, you can count on that at least being consistent from the left.
We monetize their hatred and stupidity. So, I mean, it kind of works for us.
Well,
we've been doing a good job of it
used
over
to.
here too. I mean, across all feeds, we're about 1,050 right now. So,
Oh, that's
See, that's
awesome,
the other thing that
actually.
pisses me off about my suspension is I had just sent my ID in so that way I could retain my monetization. Now I can never monetize again.
See, that's absolutely ridiculous. Like, even when they had sent me an email saying that my ad sharing revenue was paused, like, I was still, like, verified. I had sent in everything that they needed from me and, tax information to, claiming on my taxes and whatnot, ID, everything. And they paused it with no explanation given. Just said that they had received reports and they were going to pause it and everything. Now, I recently got another email a few weeks ago said that, okay, yes, you are eligible. Like, we reviewed your case, all that kind of stuff. Like, you're still eligible. So make sure your Stripe account is set up and all that. But I still have not actually seen anything, and I doubt I'm going to get any back pay. So I think Elon needs to take back over because
Elon's too busy with his other
yeah, I know,
endeavors right now.
At least can he pick better people to be in charge then?
I sent him an email and said I would do it. But
He
I never
endorsed
heard
Trump
back.
after this. He endorsed Trump after the shooting.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
I saw
Yeah,
that.
Daniel
he
read that
actually
off to
donated
me.
to Trump before the shooting, and he said he wasn't going to do that. That
Yeah.
story broke
Can you
earlier
pull
today.
up
He
Yeah,
actually
yeah, I
donated
saw
to
that
Trump.
too.
I say pull up Elon's
Well, he also said
tweet.
nobody would be suspended unless it actually broke the law. So, he says a lot
Right.
of things.
Good point.
I say I can at least see violent threats breaking the law because I mean, that's a threat that's actually in a lot of states considered legal assault. So I can kind of see that, or doxing.
So
Like doxing would be.
I could also see, they're having an algorithm that automatically limits, an account when certain like quote unquote trigger words are tweeted and whether they're reported or whether their algorithm accumulates them. But then once it's actually looked at the context of the statement, click that undo button. I mean, it's that would be.
I can tell you my experience over the last week. There is no human reviewing. The reply to my appeals is seconds after I hit send.
Looking at it.
Yeah, I got suspended that time. What was it? Last July. But it was because I was having a conversation with an abortion advocate, and they said that it's impossible to kill human beings in the womb. And I said, no, it's entirely possible to kill a human being before they're born. And that's what got me suspended. They thought it was like Orty, it was a violent threat. And I was like, no, I'm kind of being like sarcastic with this person and telling them, yeah, it's entirely possible to do this. But it would be the same
So that's
thing.
not a threat. Also, that's not a threat. Yes,
exactly.
It's possible for people to murder other people. That's not a threat. That's a reality. That's fact.
Yeah, exactly. But it got flagged probably because of the algorithm and everything there. But I mean, like with Orty, I would submit my appeals.
All the pro-aborts. That and all the pro-aborts are mass reporting bitches. But yeah.
Yeah, I ended up like I rarely ever block people, but those are the ones that I end up blocking now because look, if you're going to behave this way, you're not actually a serious person. You don't want to dialogue. You don't want to discuss the issue. You're just trying to shut people down who disagree with you. So I'm not going to play that game. But I mean, like Orty, I would submit appeal multiple times a day and instantly get back that stock response that they always send out. We reviewed it and, we have denied your appeal and stuff like that. But I think I ended up being suspended less than 72 hours. So it didn't even last 3 days then, but there's no telling now. But I would think like a paid subscriber and everything probably should have a little more leeway because I mean, we're literally putting our money where our mouths are. So
yeah, you would think. What do I know?
That was initially kind of touted as part of, the incentive for features like this and for paying was, increased, increased analytics, like, being able to see more of what your account does, also getting like being seen more, less of the kind of shadow banning or the throttled content situation. And then also that, you have course of action, and big fat fail.
Yeah, I mean, I had my ad revenue sharing suspended longer than I was actually suspended last year, my entire account. But they said it's back up and running, but I haven't seen anything.
Here's a quote from CBS. I covered his rally in New York and someone set themselves on fire in front of the cameras. It's an incendiary time in politics, both literally and figuratively.
Wait, say that again. Somebody set themselves on fire?
Remember during Trump's trial?
Yeah.
Outside of it,
That guy outside the courthouse, that the military guy.
Yeah. So apparently, and this is from one of our work chats we have in common. CBS just said, I covered his rally in New York and someone set themselves on fire in front of the cameras. It's an incendiary time in politics, both literally and figuratively.
Well, I mean, they ain't wrong, so.
No, that would be figuratively and actually.
Good point.
I mean, I hate it that like these people are setting themselves on fire, but I also kind of see it as kind of a Darwin Award type deal. Like, if you want to willingly take yourself out of the gene pool, like, who am I to stop you?
Harming others.
Yeah, I mean, don't hurt other people. Like, but if you want to make a statement that only affects you physically, like, you know what, dude? Just I'm at the point I'm not going to try to argue you out of this. Like, just
the
do
thing
whatever
about
you need to
something. That's something about a shooting into a crowd, even if it's just I'm just trying to attempt to assassinate this one person. You're risking and willing to risk innocent lives. So it's not like your delusion and your psychosis has gone beyond this. I hate this one person, and now you are completely fine with the result that whether you get away with it or not, of taking other lives that have. But it's an acceptable cost to people like that because, well, if you're there and you're following them, then you're just as evil and bad.
Yeah, I mean, this one is a different situation than like someone lighting themselves on fire. Like, as long as you don't light yourself on fire, run into a crowd, you know what? If you're crazy enough to do something like that, like I don't think I'm going to be able to talk you out of it, and I don't think I should even really try. At this point, like, I'm going to like pray for your soul, pray for your family and the people who cared about you. But yeah, I mean, pray for everybody, like Daniel said, that had to sit there and witness that, because that's traumatic. You're going to have nightmares about that forever. But I mean, it hurts, physically hurts nobody else. But yeah, this one with a shooting, like, yeah, you've decided that these other people are acceptable risks for you to make a point. I mean, if this person tried to storm the stage and, put the gun to their head and shot themselves, entirely different situation there too. But no, they decided to fire into a crowd.
So this from renowned meme thief Ian Miles Chung said, it was talking to Elon Musk saying it's time for him to triple his protection. In a reply, Elon Musk said, dangerous times ahead. 2 people, separate occasions, have already tried to kill me in the last 8 months. They were arrested with guns about 20 minutes drive from Tesla HQ in Texas.
Oh, dang. I mean, that never made the news, at least to my knowledge. I never heard about it. But what's funny, Daniel, one of the last times...
If you don't hate the media enough.
Yeah. But Daniel, one time, just a few months ago, because y'all know, I mean, he's a truck driver and everything, but not long ago, he had to go to Texas, and he sent me like a screenshot of like the Life 360 where he was at and how close it was to actually the Tesla headquarters there in Texas, wasn't it?
I don't think it was the headquarters.
It was something 30? Tesla, I know.
30?
Yeah. Okay. What was that? Who said what?
Off 130.
No, it's I'm trying to remember. Is it out by McGregor, Texas?
Yeah,
looking it up right now.
Yeah, he had sent me the text and everything of that screenshot talking like, look how close I am. Like, I was like, that's awesome. We showed it to the Tiny Tyrant because she loves the Teslas. We got somebody up here on the mountain that owns 2 of them. So,
yeah, the Tesla cars.
Yeah. Somewhere down
You
in
were
town.
you were like
Those other
northeast.
trucks.
You were northwest. I mean, northwest of Austin. Because
Yeah,
I'm in Austin,
yeah.
and he's got several places. There's the big one that's out off 130 on the outside of east of Austin. That is an alternate route from San Antonio through Austin on up to North Texas instead of going on 35. And then he's got several subsidiary ones, and one of those is that one that's like Northwest Austin, south of Waco.
Yes, that's the one. That's the one I was near. The one south of Waco.
I should have remembered Waco because obviously the Waco story, but then also because I was like, hey, go pick me up something of like Chip and Joanna Gaines.
Yeah.
Something in Magnolia.
Yes.
Yeah,
I want to say it's off of 84 there outside of outside of Waco, yeah. But yeah, I could see it from my truck when I was getting unloaded.
Rex came to visit me for the Texas-Alabama game a few years ago when it was here in Austin, and picked him up from the airport. And as we got closer to like where I live, which is like west of where the airport is, we got closer. It gets closer and closer into where there's just like, I mean, every other car seems to be a Tesla. And like I've got multiple cyber trucks that drive down the street that I like live off of every day. And as we got closer, he's like, I'll be damned, there's a Tesla. And he'd never seen one like driving on the road in person. And then I was like, oh, honey, if we're going to start this, you're going to be, your throat's going to be dry. You're going to not have a voice. And then he was like, oh, yeah. Okay. Wow. All the Teslas. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, we've got a family up here. We see they have a white Tesla and they have a blue one, but we usually see the white one because it's one of the parents picking up from school when we pick up the Tiny Tyrant.
It's not Tesla. It was a SpaceX rocket.
Oh, the SpaceX. Yeah,
the SpaceX rocket is where it was. The SpaceX hangar and all that.
He's got like 5 or 6. Yeah, he's got 5 or 6 areas all around here.
Yeah, where I was parked was right there outside of McGregor on I can't remember the road name right now, but from where I was getting unloaded at, I could look across and because it's all flat out there,
Yeah.
And there's nothing between us and the SpaceX center there. That area, it was pretty cool to see.
One is down on Matagorda Bay by South Padre. That is because they actually do launches and stuff there. That is awesome.
So Jeff just found this headline from April that would have made tonight entirely different if it had happened. It's on the screen right now.
Yeah, so he looks to strip Secret Service protection from Trump if he's convicted. Yeah, I had read that earlier too, that they had put in they had the bill ready, I guess, the motion or whatever they was going to do in case he got convicted. They was going to put it forward to try to get him stripped of his.
I say we had a couple of people earlier in chat mention that Biden had stripped some of his Secret Service detail and everything after the conviction. So, like, again, my brain is not, wired for conspiracy theories, but this is all just too weird. Like, it's way too weird. It's too coincidental, and I don't believe in coincidence.
Right.
Hey, guys, I got to split. It was great that we were able to put this together on such short notice. Good job, everyone, and have a great weekend.
All right, man. Have a good night.
Absolutely.
I was
going to say our Spreaker feed's down to like 7 minutes. So if you guys are ready to wrap up, we've been doing this for almost 3 hours. Or if you want to go,
I was about to say if we wanted to stop about 9:30, I was going to suggest that too, unless you wanted to go to 10. So,
nah, 9:30 is fine. That'll stop us at that'll put us out at 3 hours. So.
There's no new information.
I think from here on out, it's going to be a waiting game. So I think we covered the bulk of it as it was coming in, which is great.
Yeah,
besides,
the longer we say it's going to get more into the weeds with conspiracy theories and speculation. So
yeah, everybody that's left, like Jen, where can everybody find you?
Mostly on Twitter at Jay Homestead. Also, me and a few people over on Misfits Politics on Twitter. And of course, misfitspolitics.com. We haven't had a ton of pieces lately, but this is also a call. If anybody wants to ever contribute, you want to write something up and send it on over to us. We're happy to have you and host you. We kind of accept pretty much all viewpoints as long as it's not something that is, gets into a legal ground that could be dicey for somebody.
Right.
But other than that, we allow for that. We allow for culture and sports and really anything that anybody wants to post. So if any of y'all have the inkling for that, please email us at
some address that is much more scripted, that is much more when he's able to sleep and sort of gather all the information and put all this together. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean just being able to process as the commander-in-chief what's going on and tomorrow get together with his team and put something together.
I guess we've had it on too long, and I've confused it by changing tabs a million times, and I was kind of afraid to refresh anything.
Yeah, I'm sure we will, Blake. I think there's a couple of things here. The one is
there.
Who else we still got on here?
I don't know if we still have Vincent. We had Ordy.
Nope. Vincent dropped a while ago.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I guess where can they find you at?
I am Bumpstock Barbie on X. You can also find me. I write for Twitchy, just under my name Laura W. And I've got that my author page linked in my bio on my X account. So.
And I'm pretty easy to find. It's Bumpstock Ken on X. And
it's Barbie and Ken. Bumpstock Barbie and Ken. So
that's pretty much where I'm at. So Rick, take it away, sir.
I say you got the longest rap sheet, so to speak. So.
Oh God, don't remind me. All right, you can find me on most social media platforms at RowdyRick73. I do spend most of my time on X, so it's pretty easy to find me there. If you like what we do here, make sure you follow along with me and everybody you've been listening to along with the station at KLRNRadio. You can find me as a contributor on twitchy.com, misfitspolitics.com, and the loftuspartypodcast.com. I am also the executive producer of the Loftus Party Podcast, which usually drops on Tuesdays. Monday through Friday, I do the afternoon show here on KLRN Radio, the Rick Robinson Show, from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern, except for the first Monday of the month. For the rest of the week, usually on the evening shift, I'm either pushing buttons or behind the microphone, kind of doing what I'm doing right now. And I don't want to go into all that. So I think that's where we're going to end it for tonight. I'm going to try to play something because it's supposed to let me do it.
Do that, though. Let's thank everybody for listening and hanging out because that was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And we so appreciated all their comments and joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hopefully, we'll be back in 2 weeks for our regular scheduled programming on Talk Murder to Me.
And that one actually should be the Nature versus Nurture episode with Zelda Gabriel. So
hopefully.
And
go ahead, Rick. Just jinxed it. Yeah.
You just jinxed it. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
There
you
go.
guys actually hear that?
Yes.
Okay, so it is actually working. All right. Again, as Jen said, as we get ready to wrap this thing up, thanks everybody for tuning in. I know you guys couldn't see all of the numbers depending on what feed you were on, but we had so many feeds it was split up all over the place. At last count, we were at 1,100 total. So good job.
Heck yeah.
And if Trump goes to if he goes and they don't make this his walkout music tonight, they have missed something. We're gonna let this run until we run out of gas. Bye, everybody.
From the city of truth, I jabbed and stabbed and knocked critics back, and I did not stutter when I said that I'm going platinum, selling rhymes. I went platinum 7 times, and still they're ill and wanna see us rise. I guess because only God knows why. They call me cowboy, I'm a singer in black, so throw a finger in the air, let me see where you're at. Say, hey, hey. Let me hear where you're at. Say, hey, hey. I'm giving it back, so say, hey, hey. Show me some metal and say, hey, 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 hey. Yeah.
I saw your band jumping around